Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Come on and take a seat, Panther fans, on the People's Voice Podcast. That's right. It's your podcast, Carolina Panther fans. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Hop in the car. We're on our way to Bank of America, and we got a lot to talk about with this coaching staff. Frank Reich, or should I say White, Jim Caldwell, has hired Black Frank Reich. That's right. Frank Reich has added Jim Caldwell. We got the same person. Think about this. The best of both worlds, like Jay-Z said once with R. Kelly. And that's right. The best of both worlds. We could have had Jim Caldwell as the head coach and Frank Reich as the senior assistant. We would be happy. But guess what? We got Frank Reich, Jim Caldwell, more head coaches, and a QB coach who is in love with CJ Stroud. The Panthers are bringing back all the old names, even Don Capers. And we're going to talk about all that coaching news, even Derek Carr. And I'm going to do it with my wheelman, Cody Lashney. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn. David Tepper deserves a little bit of credit. We have been very hard on this man for a long time. You know, once upon a time, calling us basement dwellers. He brought music back to Charlotte. But let me tell you something about David Tepper. I really feel that he has learned from a lot of the mistakes that he has made. This man has done nothing but hire coaches with proven NFL pedigrees, baby. The Carolina Panthers are building something special. There's no denying it. We've got some Panther legends in the building, potentially some future Panther legends joining the team. There is so much to talk about, so much to analyze, but you already know we're going to do it with some more legends. The best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. You know them and love them. It's our guy, Drew, Anthony Price, Joey the Blind Panther, Craig Hartner, The Real I'm Ready, David Screws, Grim Reaper, Hamburger Milkshake, Joshua Hall, Lynn Leon Hart. We see you, Lynn. What's up? Michael Davis, Mr. Meow, Mr. Panther Gal 73, Smells Like Blue, Tyler, Vol Guy 23, Pad 1 Panther, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
CK's in the house, bro. We've gotten a lot of school, like coaches that, like Cody said, had experience, CK. And that was something that we missed last year, or with the rule era.
Yeah, the rule era, we started to see a bit of a turnaround last year. With the hires that he made, we felt like it was a vast improvement. And, quite honestly, when you see what happened, I think that's probably an accurate statement. However, man, I missed 1 week and we just fill this coaching staff up with just dogs from top to bottom. This has been quite interesting to see this play out. And I think that all of this veteran presence from a coaching standpoint is meant to help people like our new defensive coordinator with some of the tough things that they may have to deal with. But at the end of the day, this just feels like they are trying to develop these players that we have current and future players into stars. And what better way to do that than get some people in here who have done that consistently in their careers?
Man, we bring back Don Capers as an assistant defensive coach. Greg, he's an advisory senior assistant to our new and upcoming defensive coordinator in Ajiro Evero. But man, Is it time to bring back another former Carolina Panther head coach and John Fox as another senior defensive assistant who was with Frank Reich, and we put together the most senior, awesome staff? Is it too geriatric?
Well, it seems like they're bringing back everybody from the Ericsson Stadium era, which,
Oh,
that's cool. That was when I fell in love with the Carolina Panthers during that time. And it doesn't feel like this second Reich is like a perfect storm brewing right now. I feel so confident going into next year, and we haven't heard anything but coaches being hired right now. It feels so good. It's like a breath of fresh air to hear good news about Carolina Panthers and feel confident moving forward. We're building a foundation, a solid foundation, which is where you need to start a dynasty or a franchise at. And I like the direction it's going.
Long as it stays in the second Reich.
Yeah, we can't go more than 2.
Yeah, I feel like that is something that like we're all being baited into saying because it's, but then nobody should. It's like forbidden.
Yeah.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. You can be a part of the longest running Panthers podcast. That's the C3 Panthers Podcast. Help us continue to grow by subscribing, sharing, liking, doing all the things to help us. Actually, you know what? 2 things. Number 1, happy Valentine's Day to the team I love, to the people I love in this chat, on this panel. And this marks the beginning of our 11th season as a Panthers podcast, if my math is right. I started in 2013, this podcast, when we went on, and I was started in I think September, somewhere right in there of 2013. And we were started off. So I was like, man, I got to get on this, as I was going to do it the next year and wait. And I was like, and Joey and I just said, let's do it right now. Fuck it. We'll build it as we go, figure out the graphics, even the name of it we were figuring out. And haven't stopped since then. And I always mark the beginning of our season with the very first week of the new season. The Super Bowl is over. The Kansas City Chiefs won by 3. My mother-in-law, who does not follow a lot of professional football, comes over and she goes, I think the Chiefs are going to win by 3. And then she sends me a text at the end of the night, told you. And I was like, don't bet don't bet against Patrick Mahomes, and don't bet against the C3 Panthers podcast, as we will bring you another year each and every week going after it. The Kansas City Chiefs, bro, Super Bowl champs. You guys have a fun weekend. Happy Valentine's Day.
Hey, but first, before you do, flex them 11 biceps, baby. Lucky number 11. You already know what it is. C3 doesn't go nowhere. We're here all year round, giving you this Panther Nation, doing this type of stuff that we love to do for y'all, man. We don't ever want to stop talking about the Carolina Panthers. You hear me? And that's what we're going to do. This is our 11th season. And, man, we got some cool stuff in store for y'all, man. Happy to be here. Happy Valentine's Day to the lover that has torn our heart apart a bunch of times, the Carolina Panthers. But we're still going strong. You know what I mean?
We'll talk about our first loves. We'll talk about some of those things that lovers scorned on this podcast. We're about to get in this coaching talk, but I feel like we first continue as Valentine's Day and sending our love to the people that make this podcast, people's voice right here. How about the voice makes some voice? Welcome in a new member of the C3 Superfan Club, $1.99, small token of love and support for the C3 Panthers podcast. And you get these pipes right here.
Mossy Man 789 News has hit that join button and has now become a member of the C3 Superfan Club. It's a small gesture to show that you are supporting us, helping us continue to grow, continue to increase the quality, and continuing to show your loyalty. We appreciate that, and welcome to the club.
Yes, sir.
Word up. Let's jump into the talk tonight. The Panthers, as we talked last week, and the title of the show, I think last week, was Frank Reich continues to fill out coaching staff. The big news last week was Ejiro Evero. We heard that Deuce Staley was going to be a part of the staff. We may not have known in the official capacity, but since then, there have been some new names that have been added to this puzzle.
Some new names. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah. And they're old names too. New or old names, I do not know. Today, let's start with the biggest news of the day. And that is the Carolina Panthers have hired Jim Caldwell as a senior offensive assistant. The interesting part about this is they were interviewing him as a potential head coach. And I always make the joke that this is Black Frank Reich. These guys are both very, very similar in the type of candidate that both of them are. Maybe I think Frank Reich has more because I think he was a quarterback. Oh, I know he was a quarterback. I don't know what Jim Caldwell, if he played in the NFL, his status at that point, but both offensive coordinators on teams that have won Super Bowl championships, both have had successful records as head coaching. And Jim Caldwell even declined interviews for offensive coordinator positions. One requested by the Washington Commanders, our former coach Ron Rivera. Jim Caldwell said no, he was only fielding head coaching offers. We then hire Frank Reich. Frank Reich has now hired the guy that is basically him. It's awesome. I told you guys I would have been happy with Jim Caldwell as our head coach. I would have been happy with Frank Reich as our head coach. I even said, hey, let's hire Jim Caldwell and make Frank Reich the offensive coordinator. Well, guess what we did? We did basically that. They're the same person, and I'm so happy.
So yeah, to make it official, Jim Caldwell has been hired by the Carolina Panthers. He added more experience and more perspective to this staff. They have agreed to terms with Jim Caldwell to become a senior assistant. He will report directly to Reich and will help the team on offense, defense, and special teams. The 68-year-old Caldwell was one of 9 coaches to interview for the Panthers head coach opening, and the second from that group to join Reich's staff, along with defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero. So Caldwell wasn't very high on my list of head coaches, but I'm definitely happy that he's a part of this organization. And I think that when you look at what the Panthers are doing, as I said earlier, David Tepper has gone from a strategy of letting a guy like Matt Rule bring all of his college cronies with him into the NFL to really making sure that every single hire has a guy with a proven track record in the NFL. This might be one of the most tenured coaching staffs that the Panthers have ever had by the time this whole thing is said and done.
Or in the entire NFL period right now, honestly.
Yeah, we're killing it. And also, let's be real. Most of these hires came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody would have told you that the Panthers were the front runners to land any of these men before they signed with us. And yet here they are. So I think it's a testament to, one, David Tepper hearing, all the noise and making some adjustments into what he has done as an owner. But I feel like it's also a testament to Frank Reich and the sentiment around the NFL of what coaches believe about Frank Reich and his abilities as a head coach. And I kind of feel like the sentiment is around the NFL that the Panthers are building something special.
CK, I was going to bring this up. There's two things. One is like he's talking about that experience, right? We didn't have that under Matt Rule. This team, though, the experience that they are adding, so they're adding guys like Deuce Staley, they're adding guys like Dom Capers, we're adding Jim Caldwell. Cody's saying it's us building something special in Carolina, but the one I don't disagree with that. Frank Reich, though, is respected enough by these individuals to join him. That's the thing right here, is that you could put in, that means that Jim Caldwell and these guys have enough confidence in Frank Reich to become part of his staff. That's my first thing to UCK. As you see these types of names and the pedigree that comes with them, it does bring us some confidence in what other people think about Frank Reich.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue the fact that we're getting a lot of big names. If I'm being honest, there is a part of me that is concerned with all of these big names being on the same team, and how that's going to work out. I'm excited, and I think it's giving us something to look forward to. But I also think there is a potential for some of these guys to butt heads because the truth of the matter is I think all of them have their own vision of what they want this team to be, and I would like to think that the interview process washed away a little bit about what each and they're all kind of somewhat cohesive in what they want. But that would be my main concern about it, is just there's a lot of pieces right now, and I'm hoping that they can go together and work well together. But as of right now, we're just in the holding pattern and see how it works.
I saw someone point this out, Greg, is that the fact that two of these people had interviewed for the Panthers head coaching position, right? So Frank Reich interviewed, obviously he got it. Jim Caldwell was the first interview. Ejiro Evero, the defensive coordinator we brought in, that hot name, also was interviewed for the head coaching position. Then you hear Josh McCown being last year kind of flirted with by Houston as a head coaching position.
Yep.
Right. So you hear some of these, someone put this, and I thought this was a great point, is that this is a sign of guys putting away their egos and kind of coming together. And for me, Greg, I'm not too concerned about the butting heads like CK has said, because I feel like Caldwell is on a position now. If he didn't get a head coaching job this time, he's not going to get one. Dom Capers is as old as whatever. I feel like these guys are ready to rock.
Yeah,
with Frank Reich.
I agree. I think that what CK is saying, you may have too many, chefs in the kitchen, but I feel like everybody that we hired is old enough to be able to put their ego aside. They knew what they were going into coming here, and some wanted to come here. We just added 5 Super Bowl coaching rings, or 5 coaches who have won Super Bowl rings with
Capers, right?
Not 5 coaches, 5 rings with 4 coaches.
Right.
Wright, Caldwell, Capers, and Evra have all won Super Bowls as coaches.
Who's won multiple?
Caldwell.
Oh. Yeah. Here, let's talk about that briefly as we continue to discuss the addition. Will he be? What's interesting to me is that they have not announced these positions very clear. They describe it as a senior offensive assistant,
right?
And Jim Caldwell. The Panthers have been they made some quick moves when it came to the defensive side of the ball, but I feel like Reich was a little not vague, but maybe reserving that he really wanted to be in command of the offense in so many ways. Is basically Jim Caldwell working with him in an assistant coordinator capacity in a sense? Are they blending together, working hand in hand? And we're going to hear that name. Who are you going to really add? And if you add somebody at offensive coordinator right here, are they going to have more pull than Frank Reich and Caldwell in the orchestration of this? I can't believe that. But here's the crazy part, I think, of the Frank Reich and Jim Caldwell combination. They're eerily, they have very similar backgrounds. Both have been head coaches of the Indianapolis Colts.
Yep.
Both have been offensive coordinators who have won Super Bowls. And here's another one for you, is Jim Caldwell and God, who was our second coach after Capers? Well, there's only Jim Caldwell and one other coach, and he was a coach of the 49ers. I can't remember who it was. He said they are the only 2 coaches, or the last 2 coaches, to go 12-0 to start their coaching career in their rookie season.
Oh, wow. So
Jim Caldwell was on that Peyton Manning team when he took over after them winning a Super Bowl, and they started 12-0 and finished 14-2 or something to that effect. I'll have to look up the I think he was the other one. And interestingly, Frank Reich started out 1-5, but then in his first year as a coach went on a 12-game winning streak on the back end or something. So,
They
like,
want
these
it.
guys have these weird overlaps of the Colts, these 12-game runs in their first year. Both have got head coaching experience, both offensive coordinators with Super Bowl rings. Man, this is the opposite of the Matt Rule era.
Yeah, agreed.
Paul,
That's what we
I love it. I love it, man. I mean, it's such a different feel. Like it feels like there's a reason to be optimistic with the people in this organization and that they know what they're doing and they have a vision for how they're building this team. You know, I love that. And like I said earlier, I think it speaks volume to volume is about Frank Reich and what people around the league think about him. You
I
know,
agree.
and it gives me hope for the future too, because if these guys are who we think they are, so for example, Ejiro, he's probably going to be a head coach candidate again next year. It makes me feel better about Frank Reich being able to fill these positions after losing people, seeing what he was able to do, you know, in his first year as the head coach of the Panthers. That's a sign of life right there.
Love it. What do we got next on the docket?
Well, we're going to stick with the coaching thing, man. Deuce Staley has been made official. He is the running backs coach. And get this, he is the assistant head coach of the Carolina Panthers. So it is literally the exact same role that he was in with the Detroit Lions, but now he's here with the Carolina Panthers. You know, everybody ranted and raved about what kind of leadership that Detroit Lions coaching staff had most of their year, and a lot of people think that's why the Lions, you know, ended up being a halfway decent team down the stretch. I wanted just to play a clip real quick, just to give you a little piece of what we're getting in our guy Deuce Staley.
You circling me. That's what the vultures do. they just keep circling.
I truly love him,
Yes, love.
but I want to him up between the lines. I'm gonna tell you straight up.
Yeah, AG and start right here, baby.
And Deuce, you're absolutely right.
Ain't no doubt.
You want something, we're gonna give you something.
Yeah, well, we gonna take it.
We want something, we're gonna give you something. We're gonna give you everything you want. Let's go, man, compete. Out compete them. They'll talk.
Stop the screen.
5-yard
Stop the
route.
screen. Oh,
You have
great.
one
Stop the
5-yard
screen.
route.
Great. Stop the screen.
You want to talk
I'm happy for you.
5-yard route.
I'm happy for you.
You should be.
Yeah, you stop the screen. I ain't heard you
Hey,
all.
thank you, dog.
Now you woke up. You forgot to tell them we playing today. You forgot to tell them we playing today.
Man, y'all had
They look
one play, now you
scared.
want to talk.
They look scared.
So there he is, man. Deuce Staley, you know, talking a little trash, getting everybody rowdy and motivated. I love the energy that he brings. He has a great pedigree. You know, he seems to be the type of guy that players interact with and identify with. And since he's the running back coach, it really makes you wonder what the future of that position is for us. Do we sign Deontay Foreman to an extension? I know a lot of Panther fans really want that. A lot of people, like myself, were impressed with the continued improvement of Chuba Hubbard. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what we do, but I think that we're better no matter what for having Deuce Staley as our running back coach.
Tons of energy from Deuce Staley. I'll tell you this, if you watched this Hard Knocks at all, you couldn't help but root for the Lions this year.
Yeah.
You know, like, is that everybody on that coaching staff in particular was endearing. So you go from who's the guy that bites the kneecaps and cries all the time? Their head coach. You know, you don't know if he's going to be a laughing stock. You know, is he something that like is just kind of a funny meme guy? But no, you watch the Hard Knocks, you care, you learn to, I like to like him more, right? Or like respect it and feel like it was authentic. Deuce Staley and that, even the defensive coordinator, they shined. And look kind of how good that, well, not kind of that, how good that offense has been with really marginal talent overall, I would say. My question to you guys before we get to, we're about to jump into some cat calls here. Don't forget the number's 252-228-5098. What the hell is assistant head coach? think about this. Pull back up the order of all those coaches, guys.
Mhm.
And then you like the terminology. This is what he was at the last stop. You see this all over the place. But if you think of this as Reich is obviously the head coach. You think this is the next is offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. I would think in the hierarchy of coaching staffs, but they have now taken guys like Deuce Staley, who are a position coach, and they give him this other tag. What does that mean, Cody? Assistant head coach and running backs coach. Is that something they just tell guys to make them feel like more than a positional coach, or is he really the assistant to Frank Reich?
No, I
He's
believe
assistant,
that
dude.
he is the assistant to Frank Reich, and he is he is essentially the second in command. I mean, that's what it is. If you're
Oh,
the
yeah,
assistant
Frank
head
Reich
coach,
like say he got in a car accident, heaven forbid, and he couldn't go out there, would you expect him, Deuce Staley, to take over head coaching responsibilities?
yes, and you know what? Based on the things that I've seen from him, I would trust him doing so.
Well-
You know, I think that he's that type of guy. But also, one of the things that you have to also remember about all these new hires, look how many different leaders we have. All of these guys are so respected and they're so trusted that these guys are going to get the job done. It's a next man up mentality. And, you know, I can see why maybe you would think that Jim Caldwell would do it. Him being 68, having a lot of experience, similar age to Frank Reich. And by the way, you know he's going to be a part of it too. Like, you don't just bring in Jim Caldwell for no reason at all. You know what I'm saying? And like I read earlier, he's going to have a say so on offense and defense and special teams. So, you know, I'm loving these moves. And yeah, I think that right now, if something were to happen to Frank Reich, Deuce Staley would probably be the guy. And then I'll pass the mic to CK. I think it'll also show how important it is for the Carolina Panthers to continue to run the ball at a high clip. And no matter what, that's going to be a big part of our future moving forward.
I'm trying to see over my name
tag. Hey, well, hold that thought 1 second, okay? Let me just make sure that I don't miss my guy, David Screws, with the $2. He said, epic staff. Keep pounding, Panther fam. Thank you, David. Go ahead, CK.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's hard to look at that and not get a smile on your face, right? Like, just seeing the experience across the board. I mean, it's I know that we were optimistic for the most part about Rule, right? But a lot of that was just optimism. Like, this is legit excitement, right? Yeah. Like, that's what we're hoping.
We're valid, right? It's more grounded. Like, you could be excited when you buy a lottery ticket,
right?
But that has such long odds. Or you could be excited when you buy a Harley Davidson and you know it's going to go up in value next year.
With Matt Rule, you had to believe in something without having any idea what you were believing in.
Right. Yeah.
But now,
now there's just like a sense of like, oh, we do have a direction, right? We're not just out here getting somebody, hiring people for the sake of hiring them. Like, there's connections, there's legit ability for these guys to develop players into superstars. And I think that's what is exciting about this. I mean, if you're looking at this and you're thinking and you're still pessimistic about the hire and you're still held up on the whole Reich getting the nod and all that, listen, I don't know what else is going to get you excited about this team if you're not looking at this thinking, you know, wow, this is a positive move. These are positive things to see going in this direction. And so, man, again, it's actual excitement, not just optimism.
Yeah. How many shows did we do, guys, last year? And maybe even the year before, where I made you guys listen to me for hours, so not hours, but we would pull up all that coaching staff of the Carolina Panthers. This was back when people were telling me Joe Brady was going to be the next whatever. And I was like, dude, no one here has actually coached in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that they don't know how to be coaches or even know football, is that knowing the NFL the rhythms of the season, what it takes to win. Those are real things.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, if we were excited about Matt Rule last year with his he was walking the green mile, right? We all knew it. The fact that he was able to even get guys like McAdoo, Tabor, and Campen. Think about this. Tabor and Campen are coming back. The fact that even those guys was surprising. Think about how we were like, oh man, like he actually did his first thing. Reich, these guys are legit.
Mm-hmm.
This is legit stuff. Not guys past their prime. And it's guys, it's a good mix. And I tell you this, you look at those teams like the Rams or whatever, they get the young guy. I've always told you, if you get that young up and coming coach, you need a balance of people that have been there before. And you know what? Now we've got, I think our defensive coordinator brings some youth. I think Deuce Staley brings some intensity.
Mm-hmm.
You get Josh McCown, who could be the up and comer. And then you get the balance of guys who have been there, done that before. Right. And let's go ahead CK. Yep. Highlight our new member and then take us into some cat calls. After he does that, Cody, go ahead and take us into the cat calls.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, we have yet a new member of the C3 Superfan Club. Mr. Meowmeister has said, I want to join the club. I don't want to be left out. I want to be one of the elite members of this club. Well, kudos to you. Welcome to the club.
Welcome. And then, Tony, before we jump into these cat calls, it also doesn't even look like we're done. Jordan Rodriguez, formerly of the Charlotte Observer, she works with the Rams now. She's putting out hearing that the Carolina Panthers intend to bring former Rams DB coach Jonathan Cooley aboard their defensive staff as a DB coach. Cooley, another young assistant, was first hired in 2020 to help Brandon Staley install their new defense and has worked with defensive backs since. Cooley and Evero coordinated the secondary together under Staley and Morris. So we're not even done.
Can you clear one thing up for me on this?
Sure.
Staley is the head coach of the Chargers now, right?
Yeah, but I believe
I keep hearing his name associated with the Rams, so clearly he had to come from there. Because
Brandon Staley was the defensive coordinator for the Rams before he was
right after Wade Phillips.
I think so. Well, no, what was the
Rams, right?
They had I forget his name, the black gentleman. He was the coach for the Chargers in Herbert's first year.
The poor guy, the boring guy.
Yeah, cool dude.
The guy Raheem Morris is with the Rams now.
Yeah, I mean, the point being, there was
with it, and I keep hearing it. Yeah. Clearly, he was. That's all.
Yeah. Staley has a history with these guys. Most of these guys have a history with each other, so there's some real cohesion, some real synergy. But listen, man, it's that time of the show where we let the Panther fans really tell us what's up. It's time for these cat calls. Number is 252-228-5098. Let's roll.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good like
who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Panther. And you know what, guys? After just having gotten back from Raleigh, going to work today, getting so lit on Saturday night that when I woke up on Sunday morning, I forgot for about a minute or two who the Eagles quarterback was. Yeah, I was that lit, guys. Watching the Super Bowl with my other blind friend, Rihanna getting Run This Town stuck in my head again because, God, I forgot how awesome that song was. That being an awesome game, I'm just looking forward to free agency. I mean, I know we have the Underwear Olympics coming up first, but, like, I don't watch those, dude. That's like the PE fitness test we all took and fucking hated. You know the one. I don't watch that, you know. I like to listen to the, you know, all the podcasts, like the Around the NFL, people talk about it because, you know, there's some people there and you learn actually more what's going on with teams than about the freaking measurements, you know, of college dudes from the combine. That's what I listened to coverage of it for. But anyway, not to get off on a tangent, all of these new coaches that we have are really not new. I mean, these are from our old days, you know, people that have been around the league. You know, we even have Dom Capers, our very first head coach. I feel like we're building something so modern, but we're also paying homage to our history at the same time, if that makes sense.
Weird, isn't it?
I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Panthers do in free agency, who they go after. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the nerdy parts of this offseason. I mean, except May and June, man. Fuck May and June. Those months are so boring, and we're so thirsty for football. But I just want to, you know, tell y'all that, and I want to know what y'all think about what I said. Anyway, guys, I know what y'all are waiting for. Wow.
I agree.
Fantastic call.
Fuck May and June. You can't eat oysters during May and June. It don't got an R in the month. There's no football. There's no oysters. But boy, I like how we brought it together, guys. He said this is the Panthers building something modern. I was like, what are you talking about? We got Dom Capers, we got Frank Reich, we got Jim Caldwell, but you get in these couple of these other younger coaches, and then the idea of a young defense manned by a team with a young quarterback. Could it happen? Could we make a young team with some seasoned core coaches? The growl that makes them howl, he said this, I don't want to watch the Underwear Olympics. Let people like Cody Lashney do it.
And I'm definitely going to do it, you know. Definitely going to do it. Love me some Underwear Olympics. But, you know, I love the point that he made, though. It does, you know, it's a little bit of a conundrum. We're building something new, and it feels new. And yet, at the same time, it's old as well. It's like we're paying homage to some older Panther stuff. You know, it's the best of both worlds. That's why I agree with what CK was saying earlier. It's like if you're still down on these hires right now, dude, I don't know what more you could want. Like, this is literally the best the Panthers could have done in terms of hiring coaches that we could have ever dreamed of, man. We're building it the right way. We're doing it the right way. And yeah, now most of us are thinking about free agency. And, you know, we're going to have a very young, I mean, obviously we're going to talk about, you know.
We got some more coming up.
Yeah,
we got
yeah. But,
talk. We've
right,
got
yeah. A name that rhymes with Smerick Farr. We're going to be talking about him. But, you know, we have Matt Corral. We might bring back a guy like PJ Walker. We have the potential to have a very cheap quarterback room going forward. And with a guy like Scott Fitterer, I think that we have a lot of opportunities here to really build our team through free agency that we haven't really done in a while, you know, but we really don't make the big splashes when it comes to free agency. But with this new Carolina Panthers, it feels like we could very easily see some big time splashes coming up here in a month or two.
We'll be excited about whatever those additions are, I'm sure. And here, look, and this is the golden call right here. I don't know what it's saying at the moment, but this call was logged at 11:11 a.m. I'm tossing the 11s up on the first day of the 11th season the C3 Panthers podcast. I've got a good feeling about this call right here as we continue to get your thoughts on the Carolina Panthers' new addition, that coaching staff, and that's something special moving forward.
Hey guys, this is Chad down in Charleston calling in regarding the coaching staff hires. Just announced we just added Jim Caldwell, senior assistant. And I just think this is an elite coaching staff. I'm looking at head coach of Reich, who I was kind of 50-50 on, but he's going to be a top 10 to 15 head coach, I believe, in NFL. Caldwell, Josh McCown as a quarterback coach who was considered for the Texans job 2 years in a row, I think. James Campen, O-line, is a home run. Deuce Staley, again, to be determined on the offense, but another really good hire. Evero, of course. Don Capers as the senior defensive assistant. Pete Hansen at linebacker, and Chris Tabor at special teams. They're a really elite staff. Go along with that, they're winners. These are Super Bowl trophies with those coaches. You got Caldwell with 2. Frank Reich has a Super Bowl. Deuce Staley has 1. James Campen has 1. Ejiro Evero has 1, and Dom Capers has 1. So we've got a lot of Super Bowl experience in the coaching staff now. In addition to that, I think it's really interesting the pub that we're getting across the country. I saw Dan Orlovsky, I can't say that name either. Tweet out the Panther staff has become one of the best or the best in the NFL. And I really think they've nailed the coaching. So it's going to come down to getting the quarterback. At the end of the day, you don't have anything if you don't have a quarterback. So, hell of a job by our owner and by Fitterer getting this done. Really, really elite coaching staff now in Carolina. So I'm excited to see what you guys have to say. Thanks.
Woo! Applaud that man. Fantastic call for an 11-11 call, man.
An elite coaching staff, an elite moment at 11-11 this morning on the 11th season, the C3 Panthers podcast. Good Lord, what a great start to the first episode as we continue to come here each and every Tuesday night, and a fantastic call. Look, the pedigree's there, guys. The championships are there. The Panthers, the players, the coaches, where the coaches have been there. And I really feel like that's so important in the moments. When I come and the moments of hardship, the moments of like getting through. Look, even the best of teams. Look, the team that won the Super Bowl this year comes in as dogs, which is crazy. But Pat Mahomes, the MVP of the league, the first guy to win MVP in 9 straight MVPs who have been in the Super Bowl and actually win the Super Bowl, right? But they came in there with hardship, with adversity. Think about this. You had the best offense all season long. You're the best team, arguably, in football all season long. But even in the moment where you were all prepped for, you hit challenges.
Yeah.
And being there, knowing how to weather those storms. I tell you, that's one thing I respected about Ron Rivera. For so long, when Ron Rivera in his first couple of years, we were struggled in his first 2 years. We had kind of little overinflated expectations his second year. We learned we had a shit defense. But I tell you this is I used to get mad when I didn't know Ron Rivera, that he wasn't throwing a clipboard, that he wasn't grabbing guys by the face, that he, what I'm saying, is just old stoic Ron over there. But I tell you this is the best quality of Ron Rivera all those years was in those hardships and adversity moments and those challenges that he didn't waver, and it commanded confidence from his players at times. And what I'm saying is being there, having been there before, it steadies the ship. It steadies the ship, and the Carolina Panthers have a coaching staff that has not only been there before, but is qualified, competent, and has got a very good track record.
Very good record. I liked someone put in the chat that Andy Reid is 66 years old and Frank Reich is 62. So, hey, man, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I think we've got an old dog who's coming in with some old tricks, but who's put some young dogs around him to help him continue to further innovate. I'm still going to be interested to see what the Panthers do at the offensive coordinator position. I'm going to be honest with you, and I know everybody might agree or disagree. I would still love to have Eric Bieniemy
as
the offensive coordinator. Now we're not even talking about head coach anymore. Now you're going to tell me that he can't be the offensive coordinator.
You think he's going to leave Kansas City to come to Carolina to be the offensive coordinator?
How about this, Greg? If he wants to be a head coach somewhere else, he's better.
Get out from underneath Andy Reid.
He has to get out from under Andy Reid if anyone's ever going to take him seriously. And looking at what the Panthers have done in just the past couple of days and weeks, why are we thinking that Eric Bieniemy wouldn't fit in here?
I think he's trying to go to the Commander. I think the Commanders are trying to land him, guys. But here, I'm just so tired of the Bieniemy stuff. Is like, good. I hope he's great in this. But everybody's acting like it's this greatest travesty in the history of the world. They don't even show him on the TV. We know that is Andy Reid's.
I don't even think that's true.
Is Andy Reid? No, they don't even like it. We don't even. I almost don't even know he's on the team.
They said that the adjustments that they made after halftime were directly called by Eric Bieniemy himself.
But I'm not denying Bieniemy has something to do with it.
Good in the first half, because I thought it was just fine.
They had a 10-point deficit going into halftime, I think.
But why does every player, as soon as they ask why the success or why you have the success or what's so great about this team, they always bring up Andy Reid? Like I get it. I'm not saying Bieniemy's not doing things. I think he is doing stuff. I think he's doing well. Yeah, they say he's the mastermind.
I think the other thing, guys, about the Andy Reid, and I'm not trying to dump. I mean, maybe I am inadvertently or dumping on Bieniemy. Maybe I'm trying to praise Reid more in this process. But while Reid is, what'd you say, 67? I thought Frank Wright was only 60. So if he's 64, he's a little bit older. But it's not the age. Think of how long Andy Reid has been a head coach in this league.
Right.
And how much success he's had.
Yeah.
Talk about this is he's a guy. If you put one more Super Bowl on that guy, like we should be talking about him ahead of Belichick.
If he gets two more, yeah, there's a possibility he's up there. Well, if he gets one more, he's definitely in consideration for one of the greatest of all time. He gets two more, I think there's no way you can deny it.
What would he have to do to eclipse the kind of the name of Bill Belichick?
Well, Belichick has what, 6 rings?
He's not.
With Tom, is it 6?
Yeah, it's 6.
Does Tom have 7 or 6 total?
Tom has 7.
He has 6 in Tampa Bay, or 6 in New England. 1 in Tampa
so
Bay.
You're saying Andy Reid cannot eclipse Bill Belichick?
He's going to retire before he has an opportunity.
That's a good point. I didn't think about the age thing. I think if he was younger, he could. But yeah, that's a really good point.
Like in his 70s, dude.
Yeah, but he won all those Super Bowls when he was younger.
Sure, but you've got to keep in mind, Andy Reid isn't going to win the next 5 Super Bowls in a row.
What if he wins 2 more?
He's in the conversation, but you can't beat 6.
But can you put in the championship, the AFC, the NFC taking 2 teams to 3 straight NFC? He did with the Eagles 3 in a row.
How many times has Bill Belichick gone to the AFC Championship?
Different quarterbacks. Like, could you? I mean,
I think it's honestly an argument against Andy Reid. Is that he was never able to get to the dance and win it until he got the greatest quarterback in the league. You know what I mean?
But he also picked that quarterback.
Right.
He handpicked that guy when nobody else saw him.
But the part of it, the point that I'm making is Bill Belichick has been dominant as a head coach. He's only one, right?
He's only been with Brady. He's been fired. He was with the Jet. Like, he was with other teams. He got fired for the Browns. He's not only had success. He's only ridden
as a head coach. He's been only successful
with
for the
Tom
most
Brady.
part.
Only with Tom Brady, though.
Here's the thing: is Andy Reid has only been a Super Bowl winning head coach with Patrick Mahomes.
But he's been to the Super Bowl
how many times
without Patrick Mahomes? He went once with
he's been
McNabb.
more than Belichick did without Brady. He went with McNabb. He went with McNabb. He went with was that it? Was that the only one?
McNabb's the only one, yeah.
And then Mahomes.
That's still
He
one more
was
than Bill
under
Belichick.
Holmgren. I wonder if he was on that staff when but no, it still is like he's done. He's been to the Super Bowl with 2 different teams, and maybe Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was on the Giants, but I don't know, he was not the head coach. You know what I'm saying? The one thing is with Reed. How about this, guys? And you're right. I think everybody's got good points on this. What if Reed would have lost this game, though? Not Reed, but say the Chiefs would have lost this game. How much would that have gone to that narrative, Cody, CK, like you're saying? Is that like we would imagine what Philly would be saying if they didn't have Mahomes, he would be nothing, period.
Right.
But he went back to his stomping ground. It's a big game. The storylines were there, bro. Andy Reid is this central, and the fact that they won was very important for his legacy.
White Chocolate Espresso chimes in. 4 NFC Championship games. 4 NFC Championship game appearances and 1 Super Bowl with the Eagles. So,
and then he's had 4. He went 3 back-to-back with the Chiefs again at home. Like, they've been dominant.
They've had the
past Alex Smith
5 years.
The past 5 years, the AFC Championship game has taken place in Arrowhead.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
The last 5 years?
The last 5 years, the AFC Championship game has been in Arrowhead.
I think if he gets 2 more rings, say he gets 2 more rings, is like, I'll be ready to say he's better than Belichick then.
No, you cannot.
2 more. No, I will. I will say this is he's had a better career, less Super Bowls, but a more accomplished career.
So, CK, are you saying? I'm assuming by this you're saying Bill Belichick is the greatest of all time. Is that where you're putting him at?
No, I am putting him in the category of greatest of all time because he's won 6 Super Bowls.
I get that. I'm not arguing that. So I'm just trying to get the hierarchy here because I think that I can agree with you. I don't know if he could pass Belichick with 2 more, but he's definitely in the conversation of 2 or 3. Like, he's up there in the top 5 if he wins 2 more Super Bowls.
How about this? I'm picking a prime Andy Reid before I pick a prime Bill Belichick.
I agree.
It's just, what do you want? Better offense, better defense? That depends on what.
Yeah,
time
and I think that, like, also Andy Reid carries that tag of offensive mastermind. And let's be real, like right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are the standard. Everybody's trying to build their own Kansas City with a dynamic, super talented quarterback, with a head coach that they're able to pair him with and call plays and be innovative on offense, spread the ball around. And right now we're in the Chiefs era. So everybody is trying to build what the Chiefs are building right now. And you have to give Andy Reid the credit for that. And while I agree with CK right now that Bill Belichick, you have to give him the nod. I'm on Tony's side, man. If they go for the next 2 or 3 years, just kicking ass, I think you have to have the discussion.
Totally. And you know what's interesting though is like, if we're gonna call Andy Reid a offensive mastermind, we do gotta call Belichick a defensive mastermind. Bill Belichick knows how to take the best thing away from you every time, right? And honestly, I think that's while he did have Brady, he's made a lot out of his teams. Like, he put Brady in good positions for success with those defenses. You know, the thing about Belichick though is that it's a questionable track record as being a GM. He's like not bad, but not great. And it's like, gosh, if he didn't have Brady, he would be a nobody.
Yeah. I remember when we were debating Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy and like comparing their resumes. One had Brees, one had Rodgers. And, you know, Greg took some flack for saying, well, Sean Payton had a Hall of Fame Drew Brees for most of that time. Well, I think with Bill Belichick, you kind of have to do the same thing with Tom Brady, don't you? Like, now everybody's kind of revisiting the Belichick era without Tom Brady, and it's just not. I don't think it adds up.
The only difference there is Bill Belichick has 6 rings. Sean Payton has what, 1?
Oh yeah,
that's the difference there. So,
like, we should. If you think that Payton is a Hall of Fame coach, then Andy Reid, like, he can't even hold Andy Reid's jockstrap.
Well, I don't think we were questioning Hall of Fame. I think we were questioning like top 3 greatest of all time.
Right. But like, I mean, these guys are of a different echelon.
Who was the coach of the 49ers when Montana was the quarterback?
Not Shula, was it?
I think it was.
No, yeah, it was. So who are that? I mean, that, like, we're talking Bill Parcells, you're talking Lombardi, you're talking Shula, right? Because then who was the other one? Is
Cower?
Don Shula was the undefeated Dolphins.
Yeah, Don Shula was undefeated Dolphins. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. How about this? Let's go into the next call. Chat, get in the chat. Help us out. Call in at 252-228.
Bill Walsh.
Bill Walsh.
Hold up. Top 3.
252-228-5098. Let us know who you guys think the top coaches of all time were in kind of that discussion. And let us know what you think about this Carolina Panthers coaching staff. And right after this call, we're talking Derek Carr, a future Carolina Panther. Maybe. The odds are on. I don't think we can afford it. Let's go to the next call.
I just wanted to say that, can you imagine what a great situation the Panthers coaching staff is in to take care of a young quarterback with Caldwell, Reich, Josh McCown? I feel very comfortable with a rookie quarterback coming in here, being in the best hands he could possibly be in the entire NFL. It makes me also realize that we probably shouldn't be looking at somebody like Derek Carr. We should take our lumps with Matt Corral and a rookie and develop for the future and save all that cap room what we'd have to spend on Carr. Because this coaching staff is built to cater to a young quarterback. Love the show. Thank you, guys.
What an incredible call and an incredible segment.
Love it. Hey, that guy, I think he knows the keys to my heart. Because that's kind of what I've been saying, man.
But he's like really speaking the language of what this show is trying to move on to. We're going to be talking about this Derek Carr stuff. We're going to be talking about this coaching staff. He brings up a great point with the cap situation. And I don't know if we have enough money. There might not be enough patron saints in the world, but there are on this show, Cody Lashney.
Oh, yeah, there is. And you already know him and love him. It's our guy, Michael Davis, with the $35 love bomb. He didn't even send a message, man. He just wanted to show his love and support for the C3 Panthers podcast. Michael, you're certified the man, brother.
I saw a tweet the other day from overthecap.com. I think it was, hold on, this is his name. He's been on the show before. He's awesome. Over the Cap is better than Spot Rack. I mean, it's legit. He put up this tweet. He said if the New Orleans Saints cut every player on their team, they would still be over the cap. Right? Like, I mean, that's what he said. He said if they cut every single player on their team, they would be over the cap.
So,
and then that I know is the voodoo shit, man.
The voodoo, man. I'm telling you,
it's coming. It's coming.
Every year,
that's what I told her.
Show you that it doesn't fucking matter, man. Look at the
only the Saints that do this, though. It's only the Saints that really go like this. Is we're 42 under, and then we're gonna get the top free agents this year.
I bet you Philadelphia will do it this year. They'll find a way to retain all them free agents if they feel like they can. It
doesn't matter. These guys can't. They're already anyway.
There's as much different there though. Like they have to re-sign all of these people, and they're going to be garnering top dollar, right? The difference that New Orleans was doing is they were just restructuring everybody else, right, to get under the cap. They're going to be losing a lot of pieces and have the cap issue that they're going to have. It's going to be tough. New Orleans. The problem is like everybody thinks it is going to come to a head with New Orleans right now.
That's what we said 5 years ago.
No, here's the difference right now. You have nobody who's going to be willing to take a team-friendly deal right now. They do not have a quarterback. Like when you had Drew Brees, you had people willing to restructure because they wanted to win, right? You're not going to have that right now. You're not having the benefit of the doubt that they're going to get. Dennis Allen has a horrible record as a head coach. I said it when they hired him as a New Orleans head coach. This is a bad move by them. If you look at his history as a head coach, it's horrendous, right? And so that's going to continue with New Orleans. They're not going to get the benefit of restructuring guys and taking pay cuts and all of these things. They're not going to get the free agents that they once did because they don't have a quarterback that's taking them to the promised land. You can sign Derek Carr you want. He's not bringing people over, just like when you see what happened in Las Vegas. Like they got Devontae Adams and he got worse.
Let's talk about old Derek Carr. I heard the news today is that Derek Carr was going to be released by the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, excuse me. And it really doesn't surprise me at any of this. Is that I have been open to the idea of Derek Carr for a year or two deal with drafting a quarterback in the first round this year, or maybe even the Hooker guy, and then Hooker in the second round, and having a plan of replacement where if he gets hurt that you're bringing the young buck. But Derek Carr was, if they did not release him, he was going to go $40 million guaranteed against their cap this year. The reason they benched him was not because ultimately they thought that they had a better chance of winning without him, but they were worried he actually would get, if he got hurt, then they would kick in all this money and his contract would kick in. So if he like broke his leg on their watch, they would have to pay all this shit anyway.
Right.
I thought oh man, let's give a fifth or something up for this, but he was going to be paid $32 million guaranteed. Like next year, he would cost any team that traded for him $32 million at the minimum and a draft pick. So Derek Carr has had the ending with the Raiders has not been pleasant for any party involved. You can watch former Carolina Panther David Carr talk about this and very publicly on Twitter. I mean, Carr's going to make some money. He's going to make right here. I think he's going to get like 20 or something of this number. I wonder what he got. He's going to get the rest of his guaranteed money. And now he gets to sign a free agent contract.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how cheap he would actually be, period.
Wouldn't be.
Like, even if he took a good deal, right? A 1-year deal that was a friendly number for the Carolina Panthers. That would probably be $25 million.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in
a friendly deal.
So I'm interested to hear why CK thinks he would be expensive. But I do want to commend Derek Carr a little bit first, because to me, this kind of says to me that he understands how much money that he would have costed, and it got to kill two birds with one stone. He got to say a big F you to the organization that was letting him go by saying, hey, I'm not going to waive my no trade clause for any of the teams that you would trade me to. Right. You're going to have to cut me. Basically forcing the Raiders' hands to do this. And also, it's to the benefit of whatever team signs him, because now that team isn't having to give up so much money and draft picks to be able to go and get him. So kudos to Derek Carr. CK, why do you think he's going to be expensive? And what do you think the length of the contract would even be for Derek Carr?
I don't think he goes for anything less than 3 years. And that's not a long-term contract, but in the eyes of what we're trying to do here in Carolina, that's not a feasible way to do that. Derek Carr is not going to take a giant pay cut. The reality is he's getting a pay cut. Yes, he's got some guaranteed money. He's going to look at the fact that he waived his no trade clause as an asset for any team that he picks up, because he's going to save them not only money, but he saved them draft picks. So he's not going to take that much of a discount like people think he is. He's going to get paid like a top 15 quarterback in the league. Like, that's just the reality of it. Do I think he's up there? I think he's an average, slightly above average quarterback. Certainly better than anything we've seen in the past. But he's not an elite quarterback in this league from what we've seen outside of maybe one good year, and that was it. And that's with every possible piece you could have around him, like Darren Waller. You had Josh Jacobs. You had Devontae Adams. You had Hunter Renfrow. Like the dude was not starving for weapons. So the idea that this dude wasn't given an opportunity is absolute lunacy. I'm not willing to put the money that he's going to be garnering. And the Saints, somebody's going to pay it because there's so many quarterback hungry teams that are looking for somebody to fill that role.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there, CK, as far as your judgment of Derek Carr. Well, I think he's a above average quarterback. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I think he's a guy you can put the right talent around him and maybe make it work if you have the right coaching. When I was looking at his stats,
like the coaches we got.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was looking at his stats, and he's never had a season with less than 3,200 passing yards. He's never had one with more than 43. He's never thrown for less than 20 touchdowns. He's never thrown for more than 30, or like 33, I think was his highest. He's never thrown for less than like 7 or 8 interceptions, and he's never thrown more than 15. So he's right there. His completion percentage is 68%, 65%, something like that. So I mean, he's that guy. I think that if in the right situation, you can work with him. But I don't know if he's a guy you want to build a franchise around.
No, totally don't want to build it. This is funny. The why Big Jordan said straight garbage. I think this is the only thing is like if whatever young quarterback you're going to get next year, whether they're starting or not, they're probably going to have a limited ceiling, you would guess, for just that season.
Sure.
You could still get that guy and get Carr and probably have a better season with an opportunity of grooming someone. I just think this is what did Frank Reich do with Phillip Rivers?
Yeah.
And Phillip Rivers, who was toast, man. Phillip Rivers was less, his physical abilities at that time were far less than anywhere close to his peak. You know what I'm saying? Like no one's looking at Carr and go, he can't throw the ball no more. Phillip Rivers had a hard time getting the ball downfield, and they still had of the best off. It was Reich and Phillip Rivers were a good combo. So I think this is, let me just put it this way, is that I understand that people are hesitant about another mid-tier name, the word that no one wants to hear, bridge, right? Because we remember Teddy Bridgewater. We remember now the Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield bridge type player where nobody thinks they're the future, but you might be able to win some games with them. And this just eerily reminds you of that.
Yeah.
But the difference being is this coaching staff is far more qualified to coach players like that. Imagine what Frank, like if that's what we did with Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Darnold, they would. Does anybody think that they would do less with Teddy Bridgewater than what we did with them? No, I think we would be better. Put this coaching staff with those players better. Sam Darnold, this coaching staff with those players better.
So why not just keep Sam Darnold then?
That actually isn't the worst idea.
I mean, honestly,
hey, I was saying that, dude. I was saying that since the end.
It would be cheaper. It would be way cheaper. Carr would be way too expensive. He's going to cost $30 million.
But I think Carr's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold.
All right,
not like insanely better, but he's a better.
Sure, he's shown more consistency at his craft. He's considered above average, where Sam Darnold is considered bottom tier. And he has a lot of work to be made up. But the best case scenario for our situation right now is not to go and sign a 3-year deal for Carr. Back in the Teddy Bridgewater situation. Even if he plays reasonably well, right? We're still in a situation where we're going to have to get a quarterback to come in after him. And so, if it makes sense to go with a guy like Sam Darnold and either draft a guy or
set
or
who is Brissett?
Brissett is another option.
Jacoby Brissett.
Or
and by the way, can I can I also just say that almost as soon as the news hit that the Raiders were releasing him, the Panthers opened up as the odds-on favorite
That
to
is
land
the
him.
irritating part. Let's talk
Right.
about that then. Is whether or not we're right or wrong in our assessment. The odds favorite, the betting community, and the names. I saw another one. Is that it was like the Saints and the Panthers expected to be heavy.
Yeah,
courtiers or whatever, quarters of this. But my point is,
the entire
I think
NFC
all are on the
South.
same page. Honestly, is that Carr is an upgrade, like apples to apples on a quarterback, but is the money and the belief set is not really an upgrade. It's just kind of barely. It's just lateral, if anything.
Well, look. Let's say this: if you're a Panther fan, there's no way that you're getting super excited about Derek Carr, because no matter what you believe about Derek Carr, it's absolutely impossible for Panther fans to see this as anything else than the Panthers doing what they've already done the past 3 years in a row to miserable effect.
Yeah.
And the fact that Derek Carr, he just doesn't have an extensive record in the playoffs. He doesn't have he's not very mobile. The dude is an absolute statue. Yeah, I mean, he's 0-1 in the playoffs. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. I will say, if anybody watched the Pro Bowl games this year,
he was the most skilled.
Yeah, dude, he had the highest number of points.
Cannon, dude.
He was throwing dots, and I'm gonna be real with you. You know why else I think we're the number one option to land Derek Carr? They're both Christians, and I'm talking not just Christian, but Frank Reich and Derek Carr. Like, their entire life is about Jesus and the Lord and Christianity and stuff like that. Derek Carr has given. No, I'm telling you, man. Derek Carr has given sermons
Philip
before
Rivers too. Philip
at
Rivers
churches in
Catholic,
Vegas. Frank Reich went to seminary here in Charlotte. Like, they're gonna bond over what they're trying to build, and they're gonna bond over the fact that they love the Lord, man. So
they're both coming off of down years, right? They're both coming. They're on this this arc of downward trajectory, and they're hoping to have that emergence from the ashes, if you will. So I think that they could find some maybe some. I agree with Cody on that front. I don't know that the organization. I don't know that David Tepper would deal with having another quarterback that's going to be a short-term fix.
What about this?
Yeah.
And Tony already kind of alluded to it. Now, if you did sign Derek Carr, it doesn't mean that you're precluded from drafting a quarterback at 9.
You have to. You don't have a choice. You have to.
No, I don't say it's as urgent as you have to, but it's still an option
that he made in Indy. It's the mistake he made in Indy.
But they have Matt Corral. If you have Derek Carr and you have Matt Corral, and if you're able to sign PJ Walker, which, by the way, Frank Reich does have a history with PJ Walker.
Who cares?
You're not. This is all I'm saying. If they made the choice at that point that they want to use a short contract with Derek Carr to provide a buffer zone for the quarterback they draft at 9 to learn, to grow, to continue to get better, they might find that a reasonable option moving forward. The problem is you're pretty much choosing between Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, and Hendon Hooker at that point in time. Because Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, they're not going to fall to number 9.
It don't matter. We don't really have that ammunition to go up and get them anyway. Let's just be honest. Moving into 1 and 2 when other teams want to do that is probably we are the team that is not suited with cap, with pick, with all of this to really aggressively get that much higher than we're at.
So
I tell you this, if you bring in Derek Carr and you don't get a quarterback, you don't get the next plan, that's the failure that's a repeating of everything that's happened here prior to Reich getting here, and the problems that happened with Reich in Indianapolis, the inability of him, once Luck was gone, to then they found these quarterbacks where you get the Phillip Rivers, then you try to run it back, and then not happening, then Brissett, and then Frank Reich had a swing and a miss with Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
He can't have two swings and misses.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you bring in Carr and he turns out to be just another version of Carson Wentz,
he had a swing and a miss.
Trade for him.
He had a swing and a miss with Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan.
There you go. Even better. A third, it's a strikeout. You have to bring in any quarterback that you bring in as a bridge. You have to have a future plan. And if not, you should be just tanking. Not tanking, but you know what I'm saying? Looking for that quarterback going forward. There is no way the Carolina Panthers rinse and repeat what happened with Teddy Bridgewater. Can't do it.
Well,
if you bring in Derek Carr, you draft one of those guys, Hendon Hooker in the second, you say, this is our guy in a year.
So look, White Chocolate with the $9.99 love bomb. He's defending Derek Carr. He's saying Carr has always been consistent. He's always had consistent years. He's never had ups and downs. Whoa, my bad. Oh shit. Hold up. He's never had ups and downs like Baker. He's not god awful like Darnold. Darnold has been his entire career. He had the worst defense since he came in the league. I'm assuming he meant last year. And look, to kind of play devil's advocate here, I mean, has Derek Carr had one quarterback or with the Raiders for longer than a year or two? Because I feel like has Derek Carr had a head coach with the Raiders for more than a year or two? Yeah. Who?
I mean, I think the first part of his career, I mean, it was pretty consistent.
He's been there 9 years, yeah.
And then he had what's his face? Gruden. He was there for at least 3, I think.
So Trey Burnett in the chat says Tony Sperano, Jack Del Rio, John Gruden, Rich Bisaccia, and 1 year with McDaniels. And he's been in the year since I think 2013, I believe. So he hasn't had a lot of consistency. I'll say this, man. I feel a lot better about Derek Carr than I did Baker Mayfield at this time last year. But I still don't feel great about it if we're going to sign him to some mega contract and commit to him being the future.
Even if it's not
of the Carolina Panthers.
Cody, even if it's not a mega contract, though, this is the thing is that we can shit all we want on Baker Mayfield and saying, but Baker Mayfield costs like $4.
Yeah.
You know, he really didn't cost the Panthers anything. He took he basically paid himself it was $5 million. The thing is that Carr is just going to get starting money. And you have this is the way it's going to work. You either pay a lot for 1 year or you pay too much for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's really going to want to do is say this: if I take a 1 year deal, it's got to be, I need to hear a 3 up in there, 30 million. I'll take a 2 year deal where you pay me 25 million over 2, and maybe I walk out with 45 or 40 guaranteed. But you don't think that Derek Carr right now is going to command less than $25 million on a 1 year deal? That's a lot of money.
A 1 year deal.
But isn't he getting paid 32 already from?
No. Actually, I'll pull up his contract.
Yeah, I'll say if he's already getting paid. That could
money is
go. That could go into what he. Yeah, they could go into what he wants to ask for. Because I mean, if he's already I get what you're saying, but if he's looking at this and he sees the situation as maybe I can go here, make a name for myself for 1 year, and then go somewhere else because he knows we're going to draft a quarterback or we're using him as a bridge, maybe he would come in on a team-friendly deal if he's getting $32 million from the Raiders. You know, come in on a $20 million 1 year deal, 25 even. I don't see why it would be impossible.
Derek Carr
And his brother played for the Panthers too. And we're doing this thing of like new Panthers, old Panthers. You know, I could easily, he's the type of person that I could easily see being on the Carolina Panthers. Like he feels like a Carolina Panther type of player.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, I got a poll up in the chat asking, who would you rather sign to bridge, Derek Carr or Sam Darnold? And right now it's 55% Carr and 45% Darnold.
That's honestly a bit surprising that Darnold is that high.
The chat's pulling strong for Darnold right here.
I think Darnold could do well with the offense like this. Again, he's had so many opportunities, and maybe that's to his downfall, to show what he's able to do. I don't know that that would just be unfair almost at this point to put him in a new offense and grade him based off what he does this year, even because it's just that's his entire career is just new head coach, new offensive coordinator. Like it just seems to be year over year for him.
Look, it says his contract was. I wonder just how much was accelerated here. That's a good question. We're gonna have to do some more work on this.
$40.4 million. He's gonna get paid from the Raiders next year.
No, that's if they wouldn't have cut him.
It says he has.
Might,
the Raiders, the Raiders would have owed him. You're right. $40.4 million in guaranteed if you remain on the roster. Dead salary could be 5.6.
What's the dead cap number?
5.6 million.
So that's all they owe him is $5 more million. Then
well, he might take 25. Then
he might, but why would he? He doesn't need to. Look at this number. I like this. This is a little misleading. This storyline here. Michael Thomas's cap hit in 2024 would be $59 million. They would pay him, I think it's like $14 million this year or something like that, or they cut him and have to suck up all this dead money. Anyway, shame on those Saints for that voodoo magic they do, and shame.
Yep. So speaking of shame, we have a bunch of people in the chat, a strong number of people in the chat, and they love to talk Panther football. Everybody knows that, but more importantly, they're here for the voice that makes them moist. Talk to them, Big Papa.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been way too long since I've done one of these. I'm talking to you. Yes, you can feel my voice inside your heart right now. You've come here to talk about the Carolina Panthers, the improvements made on the coaching staff, the future quarterback of the Panthers. You've come to chat about it in the chat here. Maybe you're just listening on the podcast offline or off the live stream. And if you are and you haven't hit that like button, haven't hit that thumbs up, whatever it is that you need to do, I have one thing to say to all you absolute freaks. Subscriber shame.
$183 viewers, 88 thumbs up. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to make sure that we whoop up on the ass of the YouTube algorithm and get seen by as many Panther fans as possible. We appreciate every single one of you that we see in the chat week in, week out. C3 all year round, baby. We don't go nowhere. Tony, let's get to some more cat calls.
I just wanted to say that, can you imagine what a great situation the Panthers coaching staff is in to take care of a young quarterback with Caldwell, Reich.
Oh, we already heard this one, didn't we?
Josh McCown. I feel very comfortable with a rookie quarterback coming in here.
No.
Being in the best hands he could possibly be in the entire NFL. It makes me also realize that we probably shouldn't be looking at somebody like Derek Carr.
Yeah,
we should take our lumps with Matt Corral and a rookie.
That was the last one we heard.
Yeah.
That's what we heard.
Okay.
Let's go to the next call. And then we need to talk about Josh McCown, our new quarterbacks coach, and his love for CJ Stroud. The number's 252-228-5098. Be cooler than Tony, who plays the same call twice. Call into our show once tonight. Let us know how you think.
Hey guys, figure out that makes him howl again, aka Joey the Blind Panther. And you guys were talking about Derek Carr, bridge quarterback, and what Frank Reich was able to do with Phil Rivers. What in the hell makes you think Frank Reich is going to settle for another bridge quarterback, knowing that that's what got his ass fired from Indy? Because Chris Ballard, all he wanted were bridge quarterbacks. He thought he could make it work with retreads. What makes you think Frank Reich is going to go along with that? And I know he probably doesn't have I know he definitely doesn't have the control that Matt Rule had over the roster. Well, you know he's telling Scott Fitterer, if Scott Fitterer is telling him anything about getting Derek Carr, you know Frank Reich is telling that guy to eat shit. Because I don't think he wants a repeat of that. Matter of fact, I know he doesn't. Why would we do that to Frank Reich? You know, why would we do that? It's just a question. And I know not all of y'all want Carr, but I want to ask that to the people, you know, as a whole, to Panther Nation. Think about that. For those of y'all who say, oh, bridge quarterback, for y'all who are insane and want to try the same shit and expect something different, think about that. Anyway, guys. Wow, wow, wow.
I think this is
my bad. I was muted. I said I disagree with Joey on that one. I think that Frank Reich would probably pretty big on the side of Derek Carr. Yeah. Like I'm telling you, man. Tony laughs at it, but dude, they both love the board, man.
First, I don't want to hear that. First, listen to this flip-floppity motherfucker over here.
Ain't nobody flip-flopping.
Anytime I said this. Oh, no, hold on. Go back and check the tape. I'm going to do that little progressive flag, challenge flag, or whatever they be doing on those insurance commercials. Remember when I was all hype about Jim Caldwell? And it came up, not feeling this. Now we got Frank Reich and Jim Caldwell. I'm like, man, I'm all hope. And then I'd be like, oh, Derek Carr. Have I not been saying Derek Carr here for about a month now? Yeah. And not that I'm just dying for him, but I could see the fit. I could see a guy that could be better in a better situation, a team that could benefit from him. We would be improved with him. Somebody put in the chat is that Derek Carr on this team. Oh, think about this is that we have arguably the best coach, and not arguably, I'd say the most proven coaching staff in the entire NFC South right now. The best coaching staff. We haven't seen them in action for the Carolina Panthers yet, but they're the most accomplished coaching staff in the entire division at this point. So there's like a little, like where I'm ready to put our staff against somebody else's staff. You put Derek Carr on this team, is that like you have to believe you're the odds-on favorite to win the division. You have to believe that. And so I could see it, but I just can firmly believe, as someone who has seemingly, I've kind of cooled to the Derek Carr idea just because of how much money it's going to cost, and I don't want it to string out longer than I want it to be. I'd rather pay this. Let me put it this way. I'd rather pay Derek Carr $30 million for 1 year than I would pay him $45 million over 2 years. Guaranteed. And then say this, Derek Carr this year, and that's it. We're drafting this like the next, there's another iteration after this season. Unless Derek Carr goes out there and wins 14 games with the Panthers. And then you're like, well, then we have a good problem. That's my feeling. Can we even afford $35 million on a quarterback for 1 year?
No. And I think
I don't even know if we're in the running for that.
But also remember at Frank Reich's introductory press conference, he talked about the importance of mobility and what that means for a modern NFL offense. To me, it just
that's long term though. That's long term.
Derek Carr doesn't. Not only does he not fit that bill, but you're also, you're limiting what we can do from a red zone perspective. I'm a firm believer that the quarterback runs needs to be a threat when you're in the red zone. Like I'm a believer of that.
Yeah, in the long term build, in a long term build, yes. And like if we're designing a player and a team, but you don't get to design that every year.
Right.
Let me ask you this. I'm gonna start with CK. Okay. We'll go to Greg and we'll finish with Cody on this. What's more risky for Frank Reich? Getting another veteran quarterback like a Derek Carr. So and I'll start with CK on this because we said Brissett to who was it? To Wentz to now Ryan. Right? Or it was Wentz to Ryan. This would be the third. Right? A swing and a miss on that type of what's more risky, a swing and a miss on a veteran quarterback or him weathering the storm with a younger guy, and you might not have the best results in your first year. What's more risky for the way we look at Frank Reich in that first season?
I mean, I think it's way more risky to bet on a veteran guy and it's not work out again because then there's a pattern.
But is the floor higher?
Yeah, the floor would be higher with a Derek Carr. But I think that a rookie not working out, or maybe not. I mean, that's something that he's going to have a lot more time with a rookie, right? We're going to give him a lot more forgiveness on drafting CJ Stroud and CJ Stroud just coming out and struggling a little bit, right?
Right. Do you think you start him from day one?
I don't know, honestly. I want to say yes, but there's been so much success for these quarterbacks sitting a year. That's just it's hard to ignore that. And I mean, you've even had Patrick Mahomes say that he wouldn't have been nearly as ready as he was if he hadn't sat for that year.
Who's the last one, CK, that has not sat and been successful? Burrow? Allen did Allen sat? Allen
Herbert sort of
Trevor Lawrence.
No, Allen, Hooker, or Herbert didn't sit. They all played.
Hooker.
They played their rookie year, but they sat at the beginning.
Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence too. I throw him in there. I feel like he's been.
He's struggling.
Yeah, but the difference. But what Patrick Mahomes said was he would have taken a lot longer to develop.
Yeah. I'm actually saying this is like I don't know. I think Burrow did Allen start from day one? I don't believe that.
No, remember Nathan Peterman had won the starting job.
Okay, he played like 4 snaps, and then Josh Allen played the rest.
I'm just saying he didn't start
like his rookie year. Stat Daddy, look up how many games Josh Allen played his rookie year. But I would say this is Burrow is the most accomplished guy that started from day one in the league at this point. The next we could say, all right, is it Allen? Who is in the third? Herbert. Herbert's not even made they haven't made the playoffs yet, though, right?
Yeah, they have. They lost
to Trevor Lawrence.
They lost to Trevor Lawrence
with a 28-point lead. That's why I put Trevor Lawrence up there. And Allen started 11 starts in his rookie season.
Okay, so he basically started his. So is Burrow and Allen are the most accomplished. And then Herbert, is there anybody else after that? Am I forgetting someone that
Tyrod Taylor started 1 game for the Chargers, and then that was it?
Right.
Yeah.
So
then he got his
Herbert
lung punctured.
We're probably going
Baker
back
Mayfield?
to Locke.
No, Baker didn't start.
Luck and Cam, maybe. Who else? That's a good question. Chat. Who are the starters that have had success? And it's not that you can't have success. I think Joe Burrow is the model. And interestingly, let's actually segue since we're speaking of Joe Burrow. Josh McCown, the new quarterbacks coach of the Carolina Panthers, And part of that name that's being assembled, or that group of names that people are excited about, I really like the Josh McCown name,
right?
Because of how seasoned he is as an actual player. So I think you get kind of what you guys like about Ken Dorsey. I think McCown is a cooler Ken Dorsey because he actually played longer in the NFL, even did more in the NFL, was more relevant as an actual player, has put more time in, and now he's a film guru. And he loves CJ Stroud. Guess who he says? And he doesn't, and he tempered this, so I don't want people going crazy and calling for his head. But we all try to make comps based on physical attributes, strengths, weaknesses. And he said the kind of comp for CJ Stroud was Joe Burrow. He loves CJ Stroud.
And I like that comparison. It's a good comparison too. I mean, at the high end, you're hoping Stroud is a Burrow. At the low end, you're hoping that he's like a Jared Goff type of prospect. Did y'all know my man McCown has hoops? Like, if y'all want, go look up Josh McCown playing basketball. Dude, he got some skills, bro.
Yeah.
That's
like
pretty
his
cool.
brother. Didn't he have a brother that played?
Yeah,
in the
Luke
NFL too?
McCown.
Luke.
Yeah, Josh and
Career
Luke
backups.
McCown. Yeah, but y'all need to find that video. If not, maybe I'll play it a little bit later. But my man got hoops. But I'll say this, man. I like his eye for the quarterback position. You know, I think that there were rumors last year that the Texans really wanted to hire him as their head coach. And that was a legit rumor that was making the rounds. A lot of inside people even reported it too. So I love it, man. You know, I think no matter what the Panthers are going to do, it helps to have guys like Frank Reich, like Josh McCown, who have played NFL quarterback. You know, they play quarterback in the NFL, and they know what it takes at that position. And I really like what that means for Matt Corral as a prospect going forward. And yeah, definitely if we ended up drafting a player in this year's draft, you have to like all the insights and the details that Josh McCown is going to be able to deliver to any quarterback in our quarterback room. I love it, man. Like I said, these coaching hires for the Panthers have been better than I ever expected that they could have gone at all.
There's this. I'm trying to find it just to show you if you go to Josh Norris's page, he just is so active. He is doing he's doing a lot of these with Josh McCown. He's been doing these. He's got one on Levis. So I'll go watch what he said about Levis. They're doing here. I'm getting close. But if you go and watch this breakdown with McCown, it's fun. You know what I'm saying? He's a film junkie. He loves CJ Stroud's tape. Loves it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I love that or not.
But the fact that he loves Stroud?
Yeah. Because now I'm kind of secretly like, oh, we could get Stroud.
Stroud.
We could get, yeah. It's like, oh, it's good. And then it's so far ahead.
Right.
Like, I mean, I think CJ Stroud's going to be the number one pick of the draft.
Remember when G Baby was calling into the cat call saying, we need to fucking lose. We need to lose. Well, that's why he was saying it. Because, now we're if you want to get ahead of the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts, the Las Vegas Raiders, they are going to rake us over hot coals.
Are the Falcons ahead of us too? No, like there's like every team ahead of us theoretically could take a fucking quarterback in some.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad.
The Bears could trade back twice. This is the best thing I have heard. My favorite. If I was the GM of the Bears, I would trade back twice.
Yep.
I would trade from 1 to 4, and then 4-7 or some shit like that, and just have like have 5 first-round picks this year. Just take just have all this shit. You would just be the Bears. Boy, they could assemble an elite squad. And maybe I shouldn't burn. I was watching that Super Bowl. I was watching those teams, guys. The Eagles.
What were you thinking?
Are the team we should have been.
100%.
That should have been us.
That should have been us with Cam. Yeah.
Yeah. And like building.
That was the
like
entire
that.
time.
Yeah. And like that. It's there. It was there. Look at that. The roster. They put together a fucking squad, bro.
How about the fact that their D line was one of the it was a historic defense.
70 sacks, bro.
And get 0 sacks in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they didn't get 1 in the Super Bowl. 0, 0.
Well, what are we saying about Hassan Reddick and that crew right now? Oh, is that like just basically they're the same, and then there's such a great team and a great season.
I mean, look, the Eagles played their ass off, man. Like they really don't have anything to feel bad about.
But they didn't get no sacks. How they not? Didn't they break his ankle again? Was that on a run though?
Yeah,
they were Jalen Hurts fumble away from winning that game. Sorry, I hate to put it all on one. I'm not putting it all on one person, but
let's go ahead and put it this way. No, I don't want to go there because the Chiefs got robbed of another defensive touchdown. By the way, that shit was a catch. Jericho Cotry is saying that Miles Sanders caught the ball and fumbled it. The Chiefs should have had 2 defensive touchdowns in that game. They called back that shit. No, that Miles Sanders joint was a catch.
He didn't make a football
he
move.
Caught
he
it.
Turning.
No, he caught it and he turned like he had it.
Yeah, but you have to take 2 steps to make a football
move. Who cares if you're standing still? That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing in that play. If you catch the ball and you have 2 feet in the end zone and then somebody somebody rocks you, we're gonna call it a catch. That was a catch.
If you drop it, they're not going to.
It was a catch, bro. He made a football-like move. This is what that told me, is that if you could catch the ball and then just stand completely still, like, I'm not going to move. I'm going to stand like a motherfucking statue. I catch this ball and somebody rocked me and I fumble it. And they'd be like, oh, you didn't make enough moves. Like, you could sit there for 3 seconds. He had control. It was a catch.
I hear you. It was very close.
All right, you guys tell me.
Close.
You guys tell me. What do you think?
You know who I think deserves a fair share of the blame? Oh boy, y'all ready for this?
Here it comes. I don't love this. This is
James
fucked up.
James Bradberry, baby. And
Fuck
you know
that.
what?
No.
Juju Smith-Schuster is getting a ton of shit.
Yeah,
online.
for AJ Brown. AJ Brown's got a great tweet to him.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Juju Smith-Schuster says, "Happy Valentine's Day, everybody," and it's got James Bradberry with a caption that says, "I'll hold you when it matters most." Wow. And dude, I know everybody's like,
"It's fucked up."
I laughed.
It wasn't a hold.
I mean, it was. He admitted to
just
it.
as much of a hold then that was a catch.
Bradberry admitted to it.
It was a hold. It was a hold, but the problem is 95% of those are not called in the NFL. 95% of what he did was not called. And that's just like the thing that sucks is that that makes no sense to call that right there. Like, let these guys play it out. Right? That had no impact on that play whatsoever.
Do you guys think that the Miles Sanders is less clear of a catch than Jericho Cotry's?
I think Jericho Cotry's seemed more clear as a catch than Miles Sanders.
Really? The Jericho Cotry one is burned in my memory. I'll barely even remember this fucking catch that we're talking about. Yeah, Cotry was definitely more of a catch than Sanders.
The ball wasn't moving at all.
I don't give a fuck.
It
I don't
was
give
like
a shit.
this. Like he could have been like this,
but
he was
shit.
like this. Like
Tony, it's
and then
let's
he
forget
just
about
got
that.
lit up, bro. He just got lit up.
It wasn't
Tony.
more of a catch than Carter's ball.
Yeah, it wasn't because if you play that in real time, it was catch, hit, gone. Like it was no time whatsoever. Like there was zero. Like they played in slow motion so much.
We're not gonna get
I got the poll in the chat right now. They're voting on it. Was it a catch or not? It's 50-50 right now.
It was not a catch.
Oh, it's dancing.
Who was more of a catch, really? Is Cotry or
Cotry?
I don't think so. I think the ball was. I'm not saying. Look,
that's
I
a
think
losing argument right
I think
there,
both of
dude.
them were catches. No, actually, this is what I'm arguing. I think they're both catches.
I
mean,
mean,
it's-
Jalen Hurts still fumbled away a touchdown.
If he
And
got
it-
rocked
and it-
in the
and
end
it
zone,
damn
would
near
you have
did it
called it a
twice.
touchdown? If he would have done that in the end zone with 2 feet, would you have called it a catch? And then he got rocked and he fumbled it out the back.
You have to make a football move, man, whether you like it or not.
He
You have
did.
to make
He
a
looked
football
and
move.
turned and then got fucking wrecked.
I don't think turning is a football move. I think you have to, because look, you can look at it. He didn't switch.
Three steps,
When he
right?
had the ball, you have to take a certain amount of steps, and you have to make a football move with the
You don't have
ball.
to take
He,
over.
he
You have to
never
have
brought
2
the ball
feet
to his
down. You don't
body.
take
He
steps.
never
There's no
brought the ball
number
to
of
his
steps.
body
This
and
ain't
took the ball, man.
basketball.
Yeah, you
Not a
do,
football
but
move.
hey, man, take it up with the NFL committee.
Yeah.
You have to take like 2 or 3
Let's look
steps.
up. I want to look at these
for it
rules.
to be
No,
considered a
there's no
football move.
steps.
Yes,
There
it
is.
is. Then why
No,
didn't they
then
call
you
it a?
can't-
Then,
you
Look it
can't toe
then
tap
why
and-
didn't they
you
call it
can't
a
toe
fumble?
tap and fall out of the sidelines?
No,
and call
you
it
have
that.
to make a
No,
football
you don't have
move.
to take no steps. If
Yeah,
you're
you do.
touching the
What are you
ball out of
talking about?
bounds
hold
and you
on.
have
I
2
got it.
toes down, you don't have to take no
I
steps.
got it right
You
here.
just have-
I got the rules.
Let's
The
hear it.
process of a catch. You have to secure the ball in their arms or hands. You have to keep both feet in bounds, and you have to make a football move, a movement that is common to the game, such as a tuck or extension of the ball or an evasion of an opponent.
He did all those things.
Not turning, looking upfield.
He did not.
He did not do
He
any of
took
those
the ball
things.
like this and went like this.
Do I need to pull the tape?
He went,
Because
yeah, I want to see it.
Because he didn't. Yeah.
Nah, I think
No,
so.
it ain't that point, and it's definitely not more of a catch than the Carter
No, I don't think so.
catch, man.
It is just as much of a catch as
Oh, it isn't.
Bradberry.
You're gonna die on this
As
hill
a
alone.
Bradberry's was a hold. No, I'm telling you, that was a catch. That's
Wow,
2.
okay.
And here, think about this. That's the crazy part. Everybody gushed about the Eagles' defense, but man, the Chiefs' defense made plays.
But wait, can I give a hot
Yeah.
take? This is the reason why I was okay with getting rid of Bradberry. I've seen that happen too many times here in Carolina. Everybody wanted to tell me one of those Friday free-for-all last week or a few weeks ago. Oh, Bradberry's the man. We should have kept him over or whatever. Dude, there was a large contingent of Panther fans that were tired of seeing Bradberry get burned in very similar manners. The dude who has played on 3 NFL teams in the past 4 different years or something like that.
No.
He's not trash.
Yes.
No one's saying that he's trash. But what I'm saying is like he's an average NFL corner.
He was an all-pro this year.
He
Dude,
wasn't
I don't give a damn, man. I've seen him burn too many
No,
times.
and you're gonna try to
on
talk
too many
me down.
teams.
You just said I don't give a damn. You didn't even hear the words that came out of CK's mouth, and you said
He
I
was
don't
an
give a damn.
all-pro on a loaded football team.
Exactly.
Okay,
Well,
right. So
then
he
Hassan
wasn't the
Reddick.
only
We
part of
shouldn't have
that.
kept Hassan Reddick
He
either.
was-
He
uh,
was
so-
all-pro
right,
on a
so
loaded fucking
who
football team.
who's a better talent, Bradberry or JC Horn? JC Horn. Not even
Bradberry,
close.
Oh,
the number
Bradberry,
7 overall pick.
a second round pick versus a 8th overall. That's not a fair comparison.
Everybody's
And
saying
here,
that's
no, you're sitting on Bradberry here. Actually, here's the way you should say it. It's okay to not love Bradberry. Bradberry is in a perfect place. He's besides Slay. He's a great number 2. He's a very very good number 2. But here's where you're wrong about us. And like, oh, we shouldn't have kept is you know what? I bet you we would be better with James Bradberry than if we kept Shaq Thompson.
Then
That's
Dante
the guy we
Jackson.
took. We kept Shaq
Jay
Thompson
Henderson.
over James Bradberry. Who would the team be better? Who would be easier to replace for this team? Would it be Shaq Thompson or James Bradberry? And neither of them are fantastic. But guess what? I would say Bradberry is better
You
than
just said
Shaq
neither of them were
Thompson.
fantastic, and that's my only
No,
point.
we
He's
had
an
a choice
average
between two.
corner.
No,
He's
we
not
let
average.
Bradberry
He's
go.
an average corner. Everyone
We
trying to
let
pretend like
Bradberry
he's
go to keep Shaq
everybody trying to
Thompson.
pretend like he's a
Well,
shutdown
Not
corner.
listening. You're not
Just
listening.
has this nostalgia glasses on.
No,
where
he's
when
doing
the
be
game
better.
All right,
he's
all right,
played-
Cody.
If he was that damn good, why has he played for 3 different teams now? Oh,
You
but he's
had-
in the lead shutdown corner.
because we
so
signed
nobody
Shaq
retains
Thompson.
He's
him?
only played for
Hey,
two. He
no,
played for
he
the
played for-
Giants and
Played for the
Eagles.
Giants and then the
He
Panthers.
played for the Raiders too for a little while.
No,
No,
he
he
did. No, that was
No, that was,
Worley.
Oh,
That was
Worley. Okay.
Worley. No, he signed a big deal with the Giants, and then he went to the Eagles. He hasn't played with 3 different teams.
He
after
is a fantastic second corner. He isn't a number 1 corner, but he is a fantastic second corner. And why I say that and why that's important is, to Tony's point, our team would be infinitely better if he was on our squad as opposed to Dante Jackson
or CJ Henderson.
But you don't even have to think of it like that. You have to think about it as this. We had 2 options. We could have that year kept James Bradberry or Shaq Thompson. We had those.
We needed linebacker help more than we needed defensive back help.
We didn't have anybody then in defensive
we got
back.
rid of Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis, and then you're gonna let go of Shaq Thompson. No, you have to pick Thompson over
Tell us who the
Bradberry.
corner was that year then. Tell us who was there other than Bradberry. He
Which
was
year
our
was it?
number 1 corner.
Can I ask you,
No,
Cody?
that's not even
And
fair.
that-
Cody.
that's
You
saying
just
something
saying that.
because it's
You're just
average.
saying that.
No,
Is
okay. How about this? They're on the same tier of player. Bradberry and
No,
Shaq
Bradberry is
Thompson
a better player
are
than
good.
Shaq Thompson.
Give me a fucking break.
Cody,
Bradberry is a more accomplished player and better than Shaq Thompson.
Cody, do you consider
At a
Josh
harder
Norman?
position.
Do you
Do I
consider
consider what?
Josh Norman to be elite, Cody?
He had 1 season of being elite, but that was about it.
Okay. I just want to say exactly because if you're going to put Josh Norman up there, Bradberry's actually had a better.
Oh no! You have to have consistency. No.
Less years, more interceptions, more tackles, more forced fumbles.
But after we got rid of Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis, you're not then going to go and get rid of Shaq Thompson. No, it doesn't do. And if he was the type of corner,
bro,
if
I
he
don't
was
give a
the type,
fuck.
no, he's fucking not.
Yes.
He's better than Bradberry. Bradberry's a liability, and y'all
close.
just don't want to admit it.
Bradberry has
Cody,
made how many Pro Bowls
Bradberry's
has Shaq
been a
Thompson made?
liability for a while. He is a liability.
are-
And
no,
it was a liability in the
this is
Super
why
Bowl.
people listen
It was
to
a
him.
liability in the Super Bowl, dude. What are you talking about?
He was not a liability.
They got the flag that literally gave them the penalty
Dude,
that
he's
helped
out of
the
his mind,
Chiefs
folks.
get in.
Did you see
He's fucking out of his mind.
Did you see the actual penalty though, Cody?
Yeah,
No,
it's the penalty.
he don't care.
Penalty on the planet.
It was ticky tack. Yeah.
Bradberry admitted to holding him, and he definitely held him.
No, he admitted because he said it by the most technical version of the rule.
He said,
touched his
he said,
body.
I hope the referee wouldn't have called it. I was hoping the referee wouldn't have called it. He knew that he held.
Bro,
He knew that he
that
held.
shit was less of a hold than Miles
He's
Sanders
average.
was an
He's average. He's average.
No, you know what? I don't even fuck about arguing with that. The fact that you are trying to inflate Shaq Thompson and chub him up right now, Bradberry is first of all a far more accomplished player
Not
than
elite,
Shaq
either.
Thompson has ever been. He
Shaq
is
Thompson's
a
a leader.
less of what?
People rally around Shaq Thompson. No one
Where?
rallies
Where?
James
When?
Bradberry.
When has they rallied around him? You mean
Shaq
when
Thompson
we
has
had Matt
been the
Rule when he was
voice
sending him
piece
out?
of our locker room.
Yeah, and how has this Panthers team been? Shitty.
We're not
you
better
feel
with
like, what if you're
Bradberry.
the leader of the
You're not
Titanic.
better with Bradberry. Bradberry's no kind of leader. Come on.
This team would have been better over the last 3 years if you had Bradberry than you had Shaq Thompson.
Can I show a picture of the hold?
Yeah, please.
Because I got a good one here, a good angle. Present.
We don't want to talk about the tired ass past Jeff Comfort. We just want Cody to not fucking say bizarre ass shit about Shaq Thompson.
There's the hold right there. You see
That's
that?
actually not the specific hold.
No,
That I thought was the
they,
hold.
I think that the jersey pull.
Yeah, there was a jersey pull that happened.
Yeah, but it was also so slight. It might as well have been that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nothing. And the ball didn't even, man. Anyway, the idea is this: I'm not saying, look, I think Bradberry was a mistake, not a mistake by the Panthers, but Dave Gettleman really went against his own word when it came to all those guys. Bradberry, think of this. This guy came from Samford, whatever the fuck that is. And it was a 2nd round pick out of a school that nobody ever had heard of.
Yeah.
And he started from day one. He has played every game since then. He has signed a big fucking deal with the Giants. And then he's gone on to kind of resurrect. He had a second run. At first, the Giants didn't like him. And then he was pretty good. He came back. And then now he's had this. He is more accomplished than Shaq Thompson. By far, the number's 252, 228, 50,
average
98. That's fine. Then that means that Shaq Thompson is below average.
Doesn't mean that at all, but
yes,
okay.
It does.
What it do, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Just wanted to call in, talk about what's going on with the Panthers. And first, I want to say congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs. I told everyone on the Friday free-for-all they were going to win. When you have the best quarterback in the league that shows up when it matters, a.k.a. Tom Brady, that's just the advantage of it. Jalen Hurts played a phenomenal game, but I see all these arguments about how he's a really damn good quarterback. And yeah, he is pretty good, but he had it all for him this year. So let's see what he does next year. Yeah, the Chiefs are going to be the dynasty to stop for the next 10 plus years to come. Patrick Mahomes is amazing. The defense always shows up in the playoffs. And yeah, I predicted the Chiefs, but going on to the Panthers, let me talk about this Derek Carr thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I made my stance about Derek Carr. I think he's a really solid quarterback. His numbers and a lot of years are better than Cam Newton's passing numbers. We haven't had a 20 touchdown passer since 2017. It's ridiculous. If you sign Derek Carr, great. But I'm going to reiterate to Tony's point from 2 weeks ago, you need to have a backup option. Derek Carr does not stop you from trading up from your guy. Everyone says, oh, well, he can be the Jimmy G of our team. Yeah, maybe he can, but you can't just not. You have to find the future of your team. If you want to trade up like the Chiefs did, then do that. Trade up to number one, still get a CJ Stroud and put pressure on Derek Carr to be like, hey, we trust you to win now, so go out there and win. And if you can't get the job done, then pull the fucking plug. It's been so many years with a veteran-ass quarterback. He's 32. I already said he's only got 3 good years left. We got to start building for the future. The only reason I think they would sign Derek Carr is because, as I said before, the best quarterback in the division wins the division. So if they sign Derek Carr and don't draft a QB, it tells me they're trying to win now. And, if they draft the QB and get a veteran like Brissett, I would like that more because I think our roster is the best in the league, in the division, and we have the best coaches. So I still think you can win the division with a Brissett and then mid-year slide in the rookie QB. I just don't get what all these Panther fans are saying. Everyone is wanting to suck on these veteran quarterbacks. And I like Derek Carr too, but he's not a long-term solution. We need to start opening our eyes and realizing where the league is going. I'm sick of this. We've been in 5 years of purgatory. It's about time we do something different. Give me your thoughts on the situation. Anthony from Charlotte, love the work y'all boys do. Keep motherfucking pounding.
Hey, keep pounding, Anthony. The only problem with that, though, is if you sign Derek Carr, you're not trading up for a CJ Stroud. You can still draft a quarterback, but you're taking one at 9, and it's between Will Levis or Anthony Richardson.
Right.
Or Hendon Hooker, but that's probably a little high for him now, considering the ACL injury. Listen, you could do a lot worse than Derek Carr. But Anthony, it's just, and you know this as well as anybody, man. The thirst for a young rookie quarterback for this Carolina Panthers team, dude, it's at an all-time high, man. it's higher than it ever has been. And for most people, even the most rational of person, it's hard to look at Derek Carr as anything other than doing what the Panthers have done the past, 2 or 3 years in a row to miserable effects. Even if Derek's better than all those guys, it just feels like more of the same. And if you sign Derek Carr and then draft a quarterback in the first round, then you're missing out on an opportunity to put more talent around Derek Carr, either on offense or another big-time player on defense. So I understand when people are saying, hey, if you go and sign Derek Carr, it's going to take us slightly out of the quarterback market to an extent, in that there's no way that we're going to be as aggressive to draft a quarterback if you do sign Derek Carr.
What's the best case scenario if you sign Derek Carr? So, like, just give us the best picture that could happen. We signed Derek Carr. The number, we could argue about it. Say it's 30 million. I mean, that's just what it is. 1 year deal, 30 million. What's the best scenario behind that for the quarterback situation?
I mean, like I said, if you're at number 9 and you're not trading up, but you're not, if you sign Derek Carr, you're drafting a quarterback at number 9, or you're taking Hendon Hooker in round 2.
What's the better scenario? I think it's Hendon Hooker in 2.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. And then again, but when you're talking like that, I would like Matt Corral to be considered more in that conversation. But I wouldn't be mad with Hendon Hooker with our pick in the second round. I kind of compare him to like a Deshaun Watson. But when he's healthy, right, the same type of skill set is how I view Hendon Hooker. So yeah, get another D lineman, another linebacker, another edge, and then build the team around him.
We're good. We got Shaq, bro. We don't need those linebackers.
Better than James Bradberry.
So we should draft Jerry in the second round.
Who?
Jerry who?
Geriatric.
Oh,
Is that a problem for you, CK?
What'd you say?
Is that a problem for you?
I mean, it's
25.
It's concerning a little bit. He's only 20.
And the injury. What's more concerning, the age or the injury, right?
I mean, we saw Joe Burrow. I mean, it's not the end of the world to have an older quarterback, but I mean, it's not exciting. I mean, it wasn't a knock because he had the one of the greatest college year to lead him into the draft that anybody's ever had, right? But I don't know, man. Like it doesn't excite me, and if I'm gonna go that route, might as well just develop Matt Corral at that point, right? I'm not a fan of trading up. Like I know everybody say go get your guy, and I understand that thought, but the majority of the people that anytime you've seen that in the past 10 years, somebody trading up to the top 1 or 2, it's not worked out. Trading into the top 10, top 15 has worked, right? You got Josh Allen, you have Patrick Mahomes, right? But tell me when a team is traded to number 1, number 2, and actually it's worked out for them in the long run.
Let me give you 3 quick scenarios, Cody. Tell me which one that excites you the most. The Panthers sign Derek Carr and draft AR-15 at 9. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2 is they draft Derek Carr and then sign Derek Carr and then draft Hendon Hooker in the second round. Or the third option is you just draft AR-15 at 9, and that's it.
I don't know that he makes it to 9, by the way.
Who?
I don't know. There's a chance that all 4 of these guys are off the board by 9, which is the concerning part.
Ouch.
It'd be rich for my
Thanks
blood.
for doing my 3K scenario.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like,
which one would make you the most excited out of those 3? Just pick one real quick.
Probably
AR is going to ruin your boy Matt Corral, right? Like, I mean, that would, if you just draft him, bye Matt Corral. Not bye, but.
Well, that's assuming that he would lose the legitimate quarterback competition, but it wouldn't be, right? Because if you draft a quarterback at 9, that's your quarterback. Right. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I hope Matt Corral gets a chance. I'm looking at just what is the most likely to happen.
Dodging the question. Out of
I'm not
those three,
dodging
which one would excite you the most out of those three?
Derek Carr and Richardson.
Okay. All right. The number's
it's still early though. I reserve the right to change my opinion.
Yeah. No, I'm just asking, man. We're just here to talk about the Panthers and football in the NFL. And right now it looks like I only got a couple more calls left. The number's 252-228-5098.
What's up, C3? Just a quick part two, because I've been discussing this all day with the Friday Free for All boys. But, man, so getting back to the Derek Carr thing, and for one, I kind of want to stop talking about the quarterback. Like, we talk about this every year, man. And, you know, I've just gone out and say I like Derek Carr. Like, I really do. But I know Cody can attest to this, too. It just feels like you're kind of kicking the can down the road with this team. Now, I know the NFC South is wide open, but if it's wide open, then we also need to build for the future if you even do get Derek Carr. If you believe this is kind of a Tom Brady Buck situation or a Rams situation where, okay, now we have the coaches, we can easily win the division, so we'll have good playoff seeding and can potentially, you know, make a deep run in the playoffs. That's all good and fine. The only thing is you still need to have a backup option because Derek Carr is solid. Yes, he's solid. He's probably a top 14 quarterback, but you do need to have a long-term plan at quarterback because Derek Carr is not going to age like fine wine like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. You still need to get someone who you believe can be the future of your franchise. With that said, I'm still okay with trading up picks if they do, like Scott Fitter said, fall in love with a guy, then go get him. Derek Carr is not going to stop you from doing that. So in my opinion, you know, I see the betting odds are in our favor in terms of getting Derek Carr. You know, I do believe if he went to the Saints, they would have the best shot at winning the division. So I could see why we would sign him in the case of we want to try to make a run now. And that's completely fine. I think a lot of Panthers fans would love to see us in the playoffs, and so do I. I'm just reiterating, my only concern is you need to have a backup plan in case this goes south, just like even what Tony said 2 weeks ago. And yeah, those are my thoughts for my part two. Thanks for all the work y'all do. Again, Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding, boys.
Thank you, Anthony, for your support, man. A longtime supporter, a big-time contributor to the C3 Panthers podcast. You can call in at 252-228-5098. And I've been on board with this, is that regardless if we get Carr or not, the Carolina Panthers need to help the fans have a vision of the future at the quarterback position, or at least it would make me feel better. I just am not ready for a season where we punt, where we get Carr and also punt the quarterback situation to the future. I think there's too much risk on Carr with that. We've done that enough here. And again, I will reiterate, that's kind of the failure of Frank Reich continuing to have to bobble and jump from veteran quarterback, bridge quarterback to bridge quarterback without constructing a bypass or whatever in the background. So I agree with that 100. I don't know if I agree with the idea that the Saints are the de facto leaders of the division if they get Carr. I almost am not. Actually, I would say this is I think the Panthers would be better with Derek Carr than they are where they are at now. But I'm not scared of Frank Reich and Sam Darnold and this team taking on the Saints and Derek Carr. And
No,
Dennis,
not at all.
like, I don't
Dude,
think that makes them the leader.
How could anyone bet on any team in the NFC South being the leader, man? This division right now is so bad. There's
I'll
so
bet on
many.
the Panthers
There's
right
so
now,
many
Nico.
unknowns. There's so many unknowns, man. But we don't know what Tampa Bay is going to do at quarterback. If they're going to go Kyle Trask or
Derek Carr.
Yeah, look, that was another point I meant to make earlier. Derek Carr is going to be the savior for one of these NFC South teams, man. And when I say savior, I mean the guy brought in to do what you're talking about, Tony, win the weak NFC South division and to come in and be the de facto number one to win the NFC South. And I think that out of all the rosters that you could compare, if I'm Derek Carr, I do think the Carolina Panthers are the most intriguing destination to land easily.
I'm telling you this, as I'm ready to put, I think just with this coaching staff alone that's being assembled, I've had more optimism about past teams with less reason to have it than I have now. I think the Panthers are the leaders in this division right now. I think we're the most state. Look, the Saints, they could cut think of their cap situation. They have a lot of questions. The Bucks don't have they don't have any. You don't know what they're going to look like. I mean, they couldn't even score 3 points with Tom Brady this year. The Falcons were a mess. Carolina Panthers, Frank Reich, Jim Caldwell, this staff they're putting together. We're the leaders of the NFC South. Take that, folks. I want to also remind you guys, the leaders in daily fantasy football sports are Prize Picks. You go and download the Prize Picks app. You go to prizepicks.com. You maybe join the secret Prize Picks direct thread where my bastard son. God, man, white chocolate espresso was so close to hitting the big time money. Still won double his money on Prize Picks using the promo code C3. Your first time that you sign up for Prize Picks and use the promo code C3, they will match your deposit up to $100 with 100%. You put $100 on Prize Picks your first time. You play daily fantasy football sports. They'll put $100 of promo funds that you get to use and play with. That's real money. You do have to play through that promo money, but bro, you will be playing Prize Picks like crazy. My bastard son, white chocolate espresso. Kev, call into the show real quick and tell us exactly what happened with this.
Oh, he said
he's
4
yards away from
10K.
10K. I think he had a $400 bet or a $200 bet. And he doubled it. He won 800. So he said this. His tweet was this: I've never been upset about winning $800, but he was 4 yards away from that $800 being 10 grand.
Damn.
And he's hit big time. It was a $400 bet, he said. He was able to double his money still. Again, use the promo code C3. I'm going to pull it up real quick. We're going to look, I need Kev to just do this. I'm about to get in touch with Prize Picks. We're about to have a C3. We should just have a C3 white chocolate espresso Prize Pick show. I really firmly believe we can make that happen, Kev, if you really were interested in doing it. Because I tell you one thing is I would just have to produce it. Because I sure could not fucking pick them. I am on a tough road recently. I've got, but guess what? You were right, Cody, about the Kelsey touchdown being a freebie.
Easy.
Didn't get some. Jalen Hurts didn't hit those passing.
MVS, man, screwed me. I hit every one on my Super Bowl. I bet what I felt was big. I would have won $1,700 if I'd have won mine. I hit 5 out of 6.
Yeah,
And
You were
MVS
so-
got
like
no
in,
catches.
one person
Yeah.
got you, didn't it?
Yeah, MVS Scantling didn't get a single catch. He had one target the whole game. He had like 11 catches the game before. One target in the Super Bowl. And it's
so yeah, I mean, this is the thing: is you can go and you can play the the power play and make and hit close to big. But I will say the most success I've had is playing the flex play. Right, is that it always feels like that. If I just play the flex play regularly, I do well. I've recently been just trying to do that thing where you trying to make up for those bad beats and you're like, I gotta hit the biggie. We're gonna find something today. Let's do something fun. What is this is what who's been doing this in the chat? Drew's been playing these things, which is I think he just randomly picks. What is this PUBG code, CK?
CSGO, that's Counter-Strike Go.
All right, and this is Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
See,
That's
let's just do
Esports,
this. We're just gonna do we'll pick one orange.
That on Esports now? Or
yeah, I have no idea.
Wow.
We're gonna pick just colors. We're gonna go here.
I like it.
CK, should we just go more on everybody? Everybody's
I have
playing
no
it?
idea. I have no idea about
There's a
Esports.
lot.
Do more, less, more. More, less, more.
All right, let's do more, less,
Oh, you
more.
can say you varied it up. Oh, you did more, less, less. I mean,
Now
it
we're
still don't
gonna
matter either way.
do.
We're just
Let's see what
saying
this
stuff.
does. We're do a flex play here. Come back next week to find out how we did on Call of Duty.
Nice.
Use the promo code C3 and you get a 100% deposit bonus on your first time on Prize Picks. I tell you, it's a blast. It's a blast. If Kev hits that 10 grand, imagine how many $1.99 drunk super chats he's going to send in talking shit to Cody for the next 2 months. It'll be like every time Cody opens his mouth, he'll just be like, $1.99, motherfucker. Pow, shut up. Thank you, bastard son, for your support and being such a cool dude when it comes to Prize Picks. What else we got to talk about? I guess we're hitting the short straws right here. We've talked about Derek Carr. We've talked briefly about the Super Bowl. What's this about? Ooh.
No, this is just some of the odds on winners to land some of the big names.
Lamar Jackson to the Falcons scares me, bro.
Yo,
That's
yeah.
the one that I don't
Or the
want.
Bucks. I don't want to go to the Bucks either. Like, I don't want them in the division.
Agreed.
And the Panthers are only on one list here. Derek Carr.
Why are the Jets not bigger suitors for a guy? I guess Lamar, would that be in the same conference? They don't want to fuck with that.
I think the Jets are gunning for Aaron Rodgers. The Jets are trying hard to get Aaron Rodgers.
You know who's missing on this list? Miami. Where the fuck is Miami? Aaron Rodgers to Miami is what's got to happen.
They got Tua, man.
Why?
Tua was an MVP candidate up until the first,
Did you say
6
why?
weeks of the season.
Yeah,
They
so
fell
why?
off.
Why would that just? And I don't know, man. Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't even know what he wants to do. He could still end up in Green Bay.
Probably.
Do
will.
you not
Probably
think about
no.
who the fuck is on the Dolphins right now? They beat your Bills without Tua, basically, almost.
Yeah, but do you think Rodgers can
Nah, I
get the
think they
ball
won't.
down
They
the
won't.
field to get it to those receivers?
Yes.
Still, like, you think he still can? Okay.
I bet you this is would the Miami Dolphins be better with Rodgers or Tua? And it's significantly better with Rodgers. Like crazy better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can't really argue that.
I'm not a fan of Tua just because health.
Then why
Dude
don't you
can't
like
stay
why is
healthy.
Rodgers not up here?
I don't
He's
know,
like
man.
38 years old,
How
man.
about Aaron? I mean, not what Rodgers is up here. Is why is Miami up there? Not up here. Wouldn't if you're Aaron Rodgers? Don't you think that you have a better shot of winning in Miami than you do with the Jets? It's the same fucking division. But they got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. You're gonna be going over there. You'll be like, oh, I got a good defense.
I mean, yeah, I just, dude, I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. I think part of the reason they brought in Mike McDaniels was to try and get the most out of Tua. So I don't know. Maybe they're not running tail.
I think it's Aaron Rodgers to the Dolphins. Mark my words. That's what I believe. What else? Anything else to talk about? Or is that it?
2 bits of news for the Colts. I don't know why I put them in this order. Shane Steichen, the OC for Philadelphia, is the new head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Then they went. Yeah, then they went and hired Eagles coordinator Jonathan Gannon, to be their defensive coordinator too. So yeah, everybody thought that
the Cardinals have got him as their head coach, right? Gannon.
There's a card.
Yeah. So is Stitching. This is like Stitching goes to the Colts, their OC leaves, and now their DC goes to coach the Cardinals. And man, are the Eagles and the Panthers so much of the same? You know, it's like, look, Sean McDermott leaving. Are the Eagles going to go from being like powerhousey 15? What'd they go? 15-3 or whatever the fuck it was, or what is 17, 15-2? Like dominant, like we were that year. Excited about Hurts, excited about Cam. So close, feeling like you're going to be back. Poaching the coordinators now. Oh. I'd rather be the Eagles right now if I was a fan than the Panthers.
Yeah,
wasn't a good
tough
feeling.
Right now. They're going to have to replace their coordinators.
I know, yeah. It's poach. And do you guys do we put these guys in the Frank Reich tree?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to put them in the Frank. I think it's fair to do that. Yeah,
descendants of the what was it, Sirianni?
Yeah.
Are either of these guys with Reich in Indianapolis? I don't know.
I think I could be wrong. I feel like Stitchen was.
Well, see, I know Sirianni was because he was pissed at the Colts. He was pissed at the Colts after they went and beat him. He was like, "That's for Frank Reich." It was after they fired Frank Reich. So
no, I mean, at the very, we know for sure that Sirianni is from the tree, right? So what we know is that Frank Reich's staff has been poached over the last few years. Sirianni, I think the guy in Chicago now may have been the dude that was under his staff. Eberflus, maybe, I think it was his name or something like that. But now these guys come under Sirianni, so at the very minimum, they're the grandchildren of Frank Reich, but they could also have been in the Frank Reich house in Indianapolis. Who knows? But good signs. Look, White Chocolate Espresso called in. My bastard son. We'll take this call, and I guess we'll just go to the Ice Up picks after that.
Yep.
Hey, with this White Chocolate Espresso, Tony wanted me to call up and talk about prize picks. So let's see. I had Devontae Smith over 60.5 yards. He had 100. Dallas Goedert, whatever his name is. They had him at 4.5 receptions. He got 6. Travis Kelce got the touchdown, easy. Jalen Hurts got the rushing touchdown. That was easy. Gainwell, they had him at 12.5 receiving yards. He got me 20. And then finally, the fuck boy Sky Moore. What a fucking douche.
Who is he?
Yeah. 7.5 yards receiving was the over-under. He got me 4. 4 fucking yards.
Who's they play for? Did he play for the Chiefs?
I was ready for that Super Bowl on that last drive. I was constantly saying, pass it to Moore. Pass it to Moore. God damn you, pass it to fucking Moore. Oh, my God. My God, I can't believe it still. It hurt. I just went and got more drunk than I already was. But yeah, those are my picks.
Well, he still won $400, guys.
Before I made those
Doubled
picks, I
his
actually
money.
do some research, like look up fantasy previews, like what do people think what they're going to do fantasy wise. I look up all that shit before I make these picks. I don't just fuck around. Sometimes I do, but when I put in $400, I'm doing fucking research.
Yeah,
but, yeah. They're waving that
So
10
you don't
grand
mean
right in my
you don't
fucking
go
face.
more or
Just
less
go,
more?
So here's 800 instead. God damn it.
It's a good theory, right? More or less more.
Anyway, as always, boys, fuck Cody.
Telling you. God,
You're mad at your prize picks, not
Yeah.
me. I forgive you.
He would have put 10,000 $1 donations and just said fuck Cody every time, I bet.
I had all the same picks he had, except I had Gainwell at 33.5 yards rushing and receiving, and where he had Sky Moore, I had Valdez Scantling.
My guy was Kadarius Toney. I wanted to get more than 24 yards receiving. And I was like, where the fuck is this guy? I was like, is he even on the team? And then he catches a fucking touchdown, runs a punt almost back. And then that was it. It didn't even come close. He had like 4 yards. He had a touchdown catch for 4 yards or something. And damn, that long ass return.
Yeah.
What'd you say it was, Greg?
The longest punt return in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Valentine's Day. Quick, what is your love, your Panthers love you want to give a Valentine to? Let's do past players.
Okay. Past players.
Your Valentine. My Valentine, I'll start.
Go ahead.
It's my favorite player. The reason I am a Carolina Panther fan. He will be eligible for the Hall of Fame next year.
You're going to take mine.
He's 5th all-time as an NFL sack leader.
Who could it be?
Yeah.
His name is Julius Peppers. He's from about 35 minutes down, and it is Bailey, North Carolina, from where I live at. And was awesome, actually.
Tar Heel,
as a power forward. That's Tar Heel. I think was on a national championship.
On a national championship team. That's right.
Yeah.
They didn't win that year, but they went to the championship game. Yeah. Oh, actually, they may have gone to the Final Four and lost in the Final Four.
He didn't win it ever?
I don't think so. No, I think that was the year they with Antoine Jameson and I think that they and Vince Carter. I think they went to the Final Four and lost to Michigan State. Gosh, I'm pulling way back in the memory right now, but
he was before Matt Forte. That was the guy. That was those underperforming Matt Daughtry teams. But Julius Peppers was fucking a monster in basketball. Like he was like a Dennis Rodman type player. It's like, oh God, nobody wanted to get a rebound near that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And
he was like Dennis Rodman, but Shaq's size. It was insane.
He's big.
Yeah.
Maybe not as shit nowhere.
Well, not Shaq's size, but I mean, he was bigger than Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 12 fucking sacks his rookie season, and he was suspended for 4 games for violating the substance abuse program. And man, this is what we say about all the players we love. It's like it was an over-counter drug that he did. I don't really know, but like that he got that shit at GNC and got suspended for 4 games. Julius Peppers, my Valentine. I love you.
You took mine, man. I will reach back then and I'll say Jonathan Stewart.
Okay.
One of my favorite running backs for the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers leading rusher. I remember watching this guy when we drafted him, thinking about how great it was. Even though we had D'Angelo at the time, it didn't make much sense. I love the dynamic he had whenever him and D'Angelo run the ball.
Right.
I remember when he took over, or this is before he took over, but I remember when he was out with a knee injury, I think his first game back, I think it may have been his first run. He busted like a 70-yard run. His first game back from torn MCL. It was a knee injury. I can't remember what it was. And I just said, this guy's the man.
Yeah.
I loved him so much. And, he's been on the C3 Panthers podcast. So I got to throw my Valentine to him.
That's a good one.
Great one.
If we would have had Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams, we ran the Wildcat with them, right? Wasn't there a year where we didn't have a quarterback? Like we would have been.
That
this
was the
year
year with what was the guy that we never didn't throw the ball. The reason we got Cam. Who was the quarterback for
Austin
him?
year? Was it? It was no. I think it was the 09 year or something. One year we ran the Wildcat. Think about that. It's like we were like this. It's like we're so bad. We're just gonna fucking run these running backs at you. Like Miami when they had those guys, Cadillac Williams, and there was one other one. All right, who's your Valentine, Cody?
You know, I had one that I was gonna say, but I want to send some particular love to Greg Olsen.
Ooh, great one.
Not only, for being our favorite third leg Greg of all time.
True.
But for being the best commentator and the best analyst in the NFL this year, man. Dude, everybody used to love Tony Romo. Now no one can stand that dude. Greg Olsen is the man, certified the man on the field and off the football field, and for charity. And yet Tom Brady has been paid $375 million to come and replace the best in the game named Greg Olsen.
I don't know.
Dude,
We can't see both of them together.
Well, because normally you have to have a color commentator, and then you have to have
He should
someone.
go to CBS. He should go to. He's going to go to CBS or go to.
That's where they have Romo.
He's already signed the
is
contract
their
with Fox, though.
big-time dude over there.
Yeah, he's already signed the contract with Fox. It's an open-ended
He's
contract.
very good. All right,
So
I
crazy.
look. He's been amazing. He's been very good. A brush of like he is kind of or tempered down Tony. Well, I don't like people turning on Tony Romo. I think this right now, the people turning on Tony Romo are people that kind of who is it? Chris Berman. People like this. It's they try to act hip by talking shit about Chris Berman. Like, nah, this motherfucker's a goat. But you liked Tony Romo 2 years ago. You should like him now. Right.
No,
Okay.
Now he was like
insufferable.
No, he was
Yes,
happy and
he's
excited to be
insufferable.
there at one point, and now he's like, oh well. He remember he used to call plays before they would run it. Well, now he's doing the same thing and just getting it completely wrong. And I swear, half the times he seems like he's
He was
asleep.
doing that before.
Nah, he's gotten worse, man. He's gotten worse. But either way, man, Greg Olsen doesn't get enough love, and it's kind of fucked up because when we talk about the lack of weapons that Cam Newton had as a quarterback here, we always say, oh, the best he had was Greg Olsen. Well, that's pretty damn good when you have fucking Greg Olsen and you're throwing the ball to him, So shout out to Greg. He's the man. And I hope he continues to make a lot of money being an analyst because he's the best in the game doing it.
CK, who's your Valentine?
Sometimes the most recent is the hardest, and that is Christian McCaffrey. It's the most recent love and the one that is going to hurt the most because it's the most recent. So Christian McCaffrey's got it.
He's the one that got away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We miss Olivia Culpo being in North Carolina.
Just the possibility of accidentally running into her, was just it brightened our day. Obviously, it's unlikely, but I mean, just the possibility of that being a thing was worth, just waking up every day. You know what I mean?
It could happen.
I mean,
It's hard not
Christian.
to like her Instagram posts when they come by. Like it's hard to be like, oh, that's I don't want to like that. It's like your natural instinct is like,
right?
I like. Okay. Where we got now? It's just ice up picks.
Yeah,
guys, it's time for the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. 11th season, first ice up pick in our 11th season. Let's rock, bro.
Let's do it.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. It's our time where we pay homage to a Panther great and Steve Smith. Steve Smith once said, "Ice up, son." It's our time where we call out someone. Could be in the NFL world, could be in the regular world. It could be on this podcast. It could be ourselves. Everyone is fair game. Anything is fair game. Ice up picks, or when we tell someone ice up, toughen up to get it together. I'm not ready. So one of you brothers take the microphone.
I'll go first just because mine's short and sweet and to the point. Listen, when you're when you're a top tier NFL football player and you're being interviewed in the run up to the Super Bowl and you get asked questions, about, what are some weird, interesting facts about you? Maybe don't bring up your fetishes live on CBS.
The weirdest thing about you that few people know.
I have a foot fetish.
A foot fetish?
Yeah.
You like toes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And look, that face right there says it all, man. Hey, dude, you're doing too much. It's not the right time to talk about your love of toes to Micah Parson. Ice up, son.
Pretty good.
You know what? Is all the people that actually like feet and toes are like, Cody, you sucking. Another shit ass take by Cody Lashman. I hate toes.
Dude, I'm not even
I hate
shaming.
toes.
Just,
I'm not a foot
just don't
person,
say it
so,
on
like-
CBS, man. That's all I'm saying.
He's like,
Hey,
actually, he just got a 9,000 free foot picks.
and you don't like
Sure.
no toes?
Sure.
Nah, I fucking hate feet. Toes.
I'll suck with some toes now.
So gross.
Come on, man. Come on, you ain't
I
doing it
sat
right.
up. All right, who's next?
I can go real quick. So I'm going to show a TikTok video that a friend showed me the other day, and I don't know if this is real or not, but if it's real, I'm not icing up the woman in the video. I'm icing up the people that sold her all this stuff. So let me share it real quick. Make sure I do it right.
I hate this. Is every time I see a video on the internet now, I go,
You doubt it, right?
It's
yeah.
fake.
It's like
Okay, so
I immediately
the premise
think
of
it's fake.
the premise of this is a woman who's from another country. She's living in America now. She's never eaten a peanut butter jelly sandwich. So I'm gonna start it a little way through, so we don't have to watch the whole thing here.
And sandwich before in my country, but I think it's
In my country.
Oh, I thought this is so.
I'm finally can sing it and know what I'm happy for because they say peanut butter gel time, peanut butter gel time, peanut butter and baseball bat.
You're having a allergic.
Oh wait, no, I
reaction.
didn't. I messed it up here. You gotta.
Hey, Brad.
There you go. This is the jelly she's using.
No.
And I got the Kai brand jelly. So that make a sandwich.
She puts it on this sandwich and eats it.
I mean, it is made to be edible, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Rye bread because I want to be healthy, but I heard
Fake.
it might not taste good because it's wheat bread.
the conclusion of this.
Total fake. That yeah.
It's almost what I'm wondering. I'm icing up the person who sold her this if it's not fake, but I guess I'm icing her up if it is.
Oh, it's total fake.
And then it determines she determines she doesn't like peanut butter. At the end. So I just thought that was hilarious when I saw it. I had to share that one. So if it's fake, I'm icing her up. If it's not fake, then I'm icing up whoever sold her that.
Wyman Jordan said that's a Will Levis sandwich.
Oh gosh. What'd you say? He put mayonnaise in his coffee?
Yeah, he puts mayonnaise
That
in his
can't be
coffee,
true.
and he eats bananas with the banana peel.
All right, so like the mayonnaise and the coffee, I can't handle. The banana and the banana peel is kind of like ridiculous.
The dumbest shit ever.
I'm gonna throw this ball over those mountains and eat this. All right, this is mine. And again, I feel like I don't know if this is real or not, but supposedly, I mean, the guy is at a trampoline park,
right?
Right, and so if you guys are, where'd it go?
Oh no!
This is so this guy's at a trampoline park, and he's gonna go jump into this basketball court that supposedly it says he thought it was a trampoline.
Oh.
Oh, rip, dude, rip.
I don't know if that is. I don't know if that's fake. Because look at my man. Like, I mean, more worried if he has two broken
legs.
knees.
Yeah, two shattered ankles.
Yeah,
I think that one probably is fake too, in a way. But it makes me cringe.
But it did look kind of like the floor gave way underneath his.
It's
feet
probably
a little.
slightly spongy. But this guy jumps on it like he thinks it's one of those trampolines in the background, right?
He
like
took a trampoline jump off.
Yeah,
jumped off the
look at
trampoline.
this. Oh. Now I guess you just gotta look at the knee bend, see if he bent.
No, it looks like
feel
that's
like
like
a
impact
bend.
right there. There's no bend.
Oh, that's rough.
Ouch. Careful
Oh,
at those.
yeah.
You know they like there's a reason they make you sign them waivers. You paying for that shit. Ice up.
Ice up.
Yeah, you're last. Come on.
I mean, I'm icing up. So what the entire week leading up to the Super Bowl, we heard about all of these unidentified flying objects just being shot out of the sky and everything, right? We don't know what they are yet. But we like during the Super Bowl, we got an admission of guilt in one of the Super Bowl ads.
Yes.
What?
The
You didn't
YouTube
see it?
ad-
You didn't see it? Oh.
Well,
the
explain
YouTube,
it to me, man.
the YouTube ad, there was an ad on one of the ads for the Super Bowl, and it was basically this big cylindrical object that and it starts the whole thing out like it's like a radio, like you could hear somebody talking on the radio saying like we have multiple reports coming in of an unidentified flying object that's about the size of 3 football fields, and it's come to see it like it's this giant cylindrical metallic looking object, and it's just an advertisement for U2 performing at a place called the Sphere in Las Vegas. But like it's just just unbelievably perfect that it happened to coincide with the timing of everything happening with the unidentified flying objects.
The one they shot down in Canada, supposedly, whatever that was.
Yeah, and the fact that now we're
Then the
hearing that was a
balloon, the
metallic
tiny-
balloon, and when you look at this was a metallic cylinder, and it's just
Is it like a war? What is it? The War of Worlds. Remember the thing they did in the 30s or in the
World of War? Yeah.
No, you mean when they broadcasted the War of the Worlds over the radio?
Yeah, and then people freaked out, so they saw
Everybody
this
thought it was
commercial and they were
real.
like, "That's it. That's it. It's really happening."
Yeah, I mean that's basically that's now to be fair, this is not them actually giving an admission and guilt. It's a giant coincidence, but it's just unbelievable that it happened the way that it did. Because I mean, I'm watching that commercial and I'm like, there is absolutely no way that they just put that on TV, because like there's no way that they created that on the spot and it's just a coincidence. Like it was. No way that it wasn't a coincidence, because like they wouldn't have had the time to create that.
So what do you think it was? Like just a play on the whole situation?
No, I think it was just a coincidence. I think it was 100% because they're playing. I think they've had this plan for a while, not the UFO stuff, but like they've had this because they had this show at the Sphere, and so this is just U2 doing what U2 does with regard to their advertising, and they're probably one of the better advertisers out there, but
promoting their shit.
Yeah, and so it was if you get a chance, just Google U2 Super Bowl ad.
Does that make it the most reasonably priced Super Bowl ad in the history of the world then, because it got ridiculous exposure incidentally? But you just paid regular Super Bowl price, which I know is expensive, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
right. You might have hit the nail on the head there. I think any extra publicity is always a good thing. I don't know that this was intentional, so it works out in their favor. But yeah, so I'm just icing up. I guess I don't really know who I'm icing up. I just thought that was a really super funny situation to find them to be in. And now we can talk about the aliens if you guys want.
Dude, can I just say that if you growing up as a kid if somebody would have told you that in the future that we would be having news stories about fucking UFOs being shot down and the government just openly being like, yeah, we don't know what it is, you would think that would be the biggest news story of like a fucking generation.
So is that what they said about the silver thing in Canada?
They're openly confirming that they don't know the origins of these crafts.
Is that what you believe? Is
Yeah,
the question though. Like seriously, do you really believe that?
They just don't want to say
I don't believe anything.
Do you believe we
I
shot
don't-
down an alien craft and didn't get attacked? Like, come on.
No, I know that's another thing. Like, if you're gonna tell me that if they have the capacity to get to another world, that are fucking bullshit,
gonna take 'em down,
rockets are shooting them down, dude, it makes no sense. But dude, the whole thing is fucking creepy as hell, and
It's
I don't
China.
think that
It's
I
China,
don't
bro.
think
China be
that
fucking
we-
balloons.
I don't think that we have enough conversations about this as a society. It's like, oh, whatever. There was just something shot down. Like,
That's
what the
problem.
fuck is
Yeah.
that thing, dude?
Because we don't really believe it was alien.
Why not?
That's even more scary to be
Because
truly
it's
honest with you.
more because it's more plausible than it's just like China or like some dumb Russian thing, like or some janky ass. Imagine if the Russians tried to float like so the Chinese had the air balloon come over, right? What if like Russia tried to catch up with China, like a little mini space race, arms race, and you look at that Russian shit, it's all janky as fuck. Did you see video of them invading Ukraine? They look like they didn't even know what they were doing, right? So it's probably Chinese, dude.
How about this? It opens up the possibility, though, like that. Like, okay, maybe these might be fake, but all the ones that just disappear, that straight up just zap out of existence.
Which ones?
Oh, there's a bunch, dude. You haven't
There's a
even
bunch.
looked into
He's
this.
right.
I don't want to
He's
talk
right.
to you about this. This is like something that's really happening, Tony, and you need to
Oh,
do your homework. No, you need to do your homework,
Yeah,
dude.
let me-
Aliens are among us. They may not be the ones that were shot down, but
Do they
dude,
have an
fucking
aliens
are
fans
here, dude.
podcast like we
No.
got one of the Panthers?
Hey Tony, I'm telling you, man,
start one.
seriously, do some research. There's hardcore evidence and like some really crazy stuff. Look, I believe aliens are among us. I believe that we actually have alien tech and we've been in contact with aliens. But I do not believe the
Yeah,
stuff
I'm
we
hanging
shot
out
down
with you,
was
motherfuckers.
was alien tech. I mean, come on now. Seriously.
And they have
like Cody says, do
military-
you really think if they can travel from world
Yeah.
to world that our missiles are going to take them out? Come
3
on.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
3 times in
and
the
not be
span of,
attacked
like,
after that. Yeah.
Hey, we
24
defeated
hours.
Predator. We defeated the Predator. Why can't we defeat this?
Predator didn't even defeat the box office.
Oh, stop. Predator was awesome. Like, his first I do. Let me put it like this. My friend told me one time because he said, "Do you believe in ghosts?" Like we were having one of these conversations. He said, "Do you believe in ghosts?" And I was like, "Man, no. Like I don't have any evidence to believe in ghosts." Right? Is like if they really were of existence, I would have encountered one or something. He goes, "Have you ever been to China?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I can't believe in China anymore now."
Dude, hey, if there is an alien attack, we just need to call Will Smith, like White Chocolate Espresso says.
I just watched Bad Boys going off of YouTube. I mean,
Dude, Independence Day. Welcome to Earth. Bah, just punch an alien right in his fucking face, dude.
I'm calling Jeff Goldblum. He's the one who really took him down.
Yeah, but
no, that wasn't Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
Jurassic Park.
No, he did. Yeah, he's in there.
No, Goldblum. It was. Isn't it the dude that was the brother in Vacation who flew the plane in? Remember?
He
the
did,
Quaid?
He's in there.
He was in that
movie.
Quaid guy
Yeah.
drive up.
Yeah, he's in ID4, but he's not. You're talking about Quaid, the Quaid father, but he's
Randy Quaid.
Yeah, Goldblum was the one that uploaded the virus.
Right.
Oh, it was a virus that took him down.
yeah.
I thought it was always that guy that just.
God of Blackness with the $10 says the mayor of Chicago gives me alien from MIB vibes.
Yeah.
Like the aliens that are in the human they're in the human costumes.
That's awesome.
Dude, that is fucking hilarious, man.
All right. Thank you, God of Blackness. The C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We might make the Alien Fans podcast, but before we do that, we'll probably just jump over to Greg's podcast and hang out with them on Friday nights. They'll probably tell Cody will get up there and say, "Oh, The Last of Us is the greatest show in the history of the fucking world."
Better than anything Netflix has done lately.
ahead,
Yeah, I
Greg.
can say that. Hey, seriously, check us out. Geeks Chasing Squirrels Across the Multiverse, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. We may start a little late this weekend because we're doing Last of Us. We're doing the Flash trailer. We're doing the season 3 premiere of Picard, Bad Batch, and we're all getting to see Quantumania before Friday. So we're going to review Quantumania, the new Ant-Man movie, on Friday. So it's going to be a big show this Friday.
Oh, God. That's like a super
Happy
show.
Valentine's Day.
Look at this.
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I know, right?
You know what? Cody Lack. Cody
Yeah.
Lack, I tell you this. Fuck that. You know what? Is I say Wednesday's better than The Last of Us.
It's a different
Wednesday
type of
was
movie.
great,
I mean,
dude.
different type of, it was all right. It was
Wednesday's a
good.
good show. Hey,
Man,
by
yeah.
the way, this is the mayor of Chicago. And he's right.
Oh,
That
gosh.
definitely looks like an alien, dude.
You're right.
Oh,
Well, have you
wow.
ever seen? Remember Coneheads? Like they're like living in the world, you know. So it's like so close to being an alien, but like you can't like. Like there it is.
Bro, she has a 5 head. Whoa, man. Damn. All right. Sorry, Miss whatever your name is. Hope you're not really an alien. Don't kill us, you know.
All right, tell them how to get after you, brother.
Yeah, dude, find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. Every Friday at 7 p.m. we do the C3 Friday free for all. The show for Panther fans by the Panther fans. You can join the show via StreamYard just like we're doing now. And yeah, man, that's about it. Come be a part of the cult of free for all.
It's the People's Voice podcast, the C3 Panthers podcast, and not the voice that makes them moist. CK, tell them how they can get after you before next week.
You can find me on all social medias. It's going to be Codizzle Allen, and obviously here. And we'll see you guys on Tuesday, maybe Friday. Who knows? We'll see what the day brings. But yeah,
that's the show, guys. See you next Tuesday, Friday, and all the other times that we're online. Cody Lack, take us out of here.
C3, keep pounding.